Hello, I'm back. We're going to be talking about the Nolan Wells case. There's a lot going on with this case. Let me make sure my audio is good. Okay. Yes, it's good. Hello. Happy Thursday. Can you guys see me and hear me okay? Let's check in. Debbie, please make sure you guys hit the like button. I see Evie, Debbie, Jerry, Creatively. Hello, hello. Good to see everyone. We have a lot to cover. It's been a few days that I've covered Nolan Wells. Hey 416, good to see you. I have 3 documents we're going to review, couple clips, couple interviews. I don't even know where to start because there's so much. So we're not getting the second autopsy from Nolan Wells. That's not going to be disclosed as of yet. So there's that. There's a lot of issues with the friends going on. One of them is suing creators. They're being attacked, bullied, harassed. So we're going to go over that lawsuit, and we're going to go over some of the interviews. I do have a news clips that I want to go over, and I do want to listen to the distressed emergency call. I have not caught up on some of this stuff, so I definitely needed to. Pretty much. Oh, and the family. Nolan Wells' parents filed a document, basically telling the friends to expect a lawsuit. And also they have filed a document to, I guess, subpoena their phone records. So that should be interesting. Let's listen to the distressed call, and then we're gonna go into I want to go over a few minutes of a Nancy Grace episode where she talks about the call as well. I don't know what to think, to be honest. RIP Nolan Wells. And, if the friends didn't have anything to do with this crime or case, that sucks because they have been, plastered all over the internet as they murdered him. So it's rough. Poor Nolan. I know. I feel like not that his death has been like overlooked, but I'm like, it's involving lawsuits against creators for, saying that bar and I forget all of their names, to be honest, but we're going to watch their interviews today. Saying that they're murderers and they've been harassed and all this. So it's wild. It's wild. It's wild. It's wild. I want to listen to the call. And you guys can let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as we go through all of it, hello, True Crime. And I saw HCB. Hello, Sky Dream. Thanks for being here. This case is just nuts. I know. Let me know if you guys, what your opinion is of the friends. I think there's a lot of suspicious things going on too, but that doesn't mean that they're responsible. But I do have concerns about when he was there on the boat and on the beach, and then when he was not, and why they had his phone. There's a lot that I am questioning, but let me pull up the call. We're going to listen to it together. Hold please while I pull it up. This is from our girl Plunder. I try to listen to it. I don't know that I hear anything. Warren and Trayson, nice young fellows. Yeah, we're gonna go over their interviews today, but I'm like, I can't tell in this call. I know people have done like audio enhancements. I didn't do that. So we'll just try to understand. Hey, Noodle, what is going on? Let me see if turning on, this is a call already. So let me turn on closed captions and see if we can get anything there.
CTO Assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
I did hear Bart there, but I mean, I can't really make out what they're saying in the background.
We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just thinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Hold on, is there no I'm wondering if this is just the audio or am my screen's just black. Let me refresh. Oh, maybe it is. Hold on. Hold on, sorry guys. I think it is just that way. Okay, I wanted to make sure it wasn't my let me pull it up on my Okay, yeah, I thought I was tripping. I'm like, is it just a black screen? Don't mind me. Okay.
CETO Assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right, well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir.
I don't know the phone number. It's either Jerry Atkerson. I think it's Jerry Atkerson. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't
All
have the
right,
tag
unless
on
you
here.
have a
It got ripped
membership
off.
number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at
Okay, it's quiet while he gives us number.
All right, and is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's
How
on
many?
board.
All right, do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
So he says no, but I thought that they called. We're gonna read the Marine Patrol report as well. The call, I don't know, the incident report. I thought they did call the Coast Guard later though.
All right. All right, do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look.
If not, I can send you a text message.
North. All right, are you ready?
Yes, sir, I'm available.
North 30 degrees by 4672.
All right, 4672. All right, and you were breaking up a little bit. Can you just repeat it one more time to make sure I have it correct?
Sorry, look.
Hello,
What
can you
do
hear
send
me?
Yeah, what?
Whoa.
So you're breaking up. If you need assistance, do you have a VHF radio?
No, we do not have a VHF radio.
All right, well, let's try to get you going because you don't have good cell phone reception. Can you verify your coordinates one more time?
Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
Right, looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
Yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We are sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in
Okay.
17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right, have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
All right, where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou Launch.
All right, how many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
So is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question.
Oh,
Worth it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Try to jump in and pull the plug, Bart, while you're going.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay.
How many
what's
adults
going
on board?
What's up? There are 0 adults on board.
There are 0 adults on board, he says. I saw hey hoodies. I saw hoodies say this call they called the sorry, let me go back. They called the Coast Guard when they realized Nolan had not come back. The call was as they left the island because their boat was taking on too much water. It was verified. Nolan said he did not want to come. Yeah. Interesting.
Nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was a
Sir, how did you get the liquor? I do want to say before, there's a lot of stuff about rugs being involved, and there's other channels that are talking about the rugs being involved, Coca-Cola, alcohol. I guess until I see toxicology reports, I don't really know
not
about
the
that.
question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
All right, thank you. Does everyone have life jackets on or available to them?
Yes, we have life jackets available.
All right, verify what boat's sinking.
A Triton, 22-foot offshore, 22-foot Triton offshore sea flight hull.
All right. All right. Please hold. I'm transferring you to the local captain now.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so he's being transferred. Yeah, awkward conversation. It's just silence while we wait. And to get the notification, I think these boys are full of. Oh, okay. I see. I see. We can all have different opinions. It's okay.
This is Captain Seth.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee for service come up under Jerry.
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking, and he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
he said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24-footer, but that's all he can give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat, and
Is it
he said
Jerry?
that
Mhm.
Jerry. Yeah, he said
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So
Oh,
I'm
right.
guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah,
Or,
they're in a panic. He's saying the
So-
bilge is not keeping up. I asked for Coast Guard. He said no, but he's just really upset on the back end. And, I get it. It's a
Okay.
kid. He just doesn't understand.
Okay. Do you still have him on the line?
Yes, I still have him on the line. And again, I couldn't find, he couldn't give me anything regarding his grandfather's, membership. So it's just under Jerry fee for service.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just talked to. If you want to, I'm not. We're so tied up right now. We can't really do any non-member jobs right now.
Is Jerry a member? Did you find out if he was a member or not?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's his boat or what. I'm not sure what's going on with it. But yeah, transfer the kid over. I'll talk to him, and then I'll call his grandpa back as well.
All right. And did you want me to look up Jerry's membership number or anything like that to see if he's up? I know you guys are
You can
swamped.
try this cell phone number.
Yes, sir.
Anything on this phone number.
All right. Yep. Jerry. Yeah, he's an active member. Hold on.
What kind of boat do you have on there? Same boat?
Yeah, he's one. Yeah, he's one of your members. Yep, 22-foot Triton. All right. I'll just disregard this one. I'm gonna send you over an accurate one under this Jerry Ackerson one. Okay, he's one of your members. You'll get in a couple minutes. Okay.
Okay, perfect. All right. And yeah, just transfer this kid over whenever you get a chance.
All right. Transferring now. Thank you again, Captain.
All
Stay
righty.
safe out there. It's crazy. Have a drink.
Oh, it's wild.
Have a
All
drink.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I think that might be the end of it.
Hello? Are you there? I apologize. I will be disconnecting due to lack of
Oh,
response.
disconnecting due to lack of response. Interesting. I didn't hear anything in the background, but we might find it. We might play a clip that do the audio enhancement or whatnot. Who was the adult on the boat? Like actual adult, not someone of the age 18. I heard the names Wyatt, Bart, and Warren. I hear shut up. I heard that part. Shut the F up, but the rest is too low for me. Have a drink? I know. I don't think she meant like while you're working, but let's go over and watch a couple clips. There's a couple minutes of Nancy Grace. She's been doing really good episodes of this, where they talk about the call.
Only to the beginning of that.
Can and cannot do with the boat, and other people are using that as evidence that there's something somehow wrong with what the family is saying, when all they really want is justice. And justice is the pursuit of truth, and it just seems to be triggering people in such an odd way that I, quite frankly, don't understand.
Guys, I want to circle back not only to the beginning of that MR, Mississippi Department Marine Research call. I want you to hear more, a different segment of that SEATOW, that's SEATOW call. Listen.
Right, looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
Yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right. Is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We were sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right, have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
All right, where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor or Fort Bayou Lawn.
You know, it just struck me. He's got reception. Why is everybody saying you can't make calls and you can't take pictures because there's no reception? He's out in the middle of the water at those coordinates and he's got reception. Remember that? Remember that, Alexis Tereszcuk, Crime Stories investigative reporter? We were told at the beginning that items were not deleted off Nolan Wills's phone, but he wasn't posting because there wasn't reception. But they're out in the middle of the water and they've got reception.
Oh, when Nancy Grace gets on the case, you already know it's wild. But she's right.
They do. He has really good reception, and you can hear it clearly throughout this call. But the stories maybe have changed a few times. First, it was he didn't have any reception. The other was, oh, nobody took their phones on the island because you had to wade through some water to get to it. And they even said, well, this is salt water, not fresh water, as if that matters to your phone when you drop it into it. But there are videos from the island. Even some of his friends are in videos from the island. So people clearly had their phone. And the other friend was arguing when we're talking about the videos that people worry about that have said that it was him. His friend was seen in the video screaming, "Give me back my phone." the phones were there. Other kids had their phones.
Okay, but before I discount claims that Nolan did not have reception, I don't know what carrier he had. Maybe he didn't have reception. My point is, why everybody's screaming to shut this investigation down, I don't know, because these are very rudimentary facts that we don't have the answers to. You know, he is talking about the boat taking on water. We are sinking. Come and get us. I want this boat unsank and towed back. But interesting, we learn that that very boat took multiple trips later that very same night.
So first, at 9:56 a.m., the boat leaves the original dock. It arrives at Horn Island at 11:14. So at around 4 o'clock, there is a call to the Coast Guard about the boat. NBC News got a hold of it.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Everybody's on board. So does that mean Nolan is on there? Who was on that boat? At 4:31, the boat leaves Horn Island and it is towed approximately 3 miles, and then the tow ends. So after 3 miles, they go back to the original dock, okay? They arrive at 5:44 p.m. So it looks like this is where Horn Island is, and this is where the original dock is that I am referring to. I looked it up, and El Camino Real Road is in Gulf Hills, Mississippi, which is right above Ocean Springs. So I'm wondering if this is the house where they got the phone. Now, the boat travels to Fort Bayou. At 6:06, the boat returns to the original dock. Then, from the original dock, the boat goes back to Fort Bayou, and then they go to the boat launch, and it is put onto the trailer and moved by the vehicle. Did they drop people off at the original dock, travel to Fort Bayou, pick somebody up, and go back to that original dock? And then from there, why was there an hour and 13-minute time gap? This boat was sinking hours before, and then they're just having it docked for an hour and 13 minutes. You would think they'd want to get that boat out of the water ASAP.
That's when the real
Interesting. Let's listen to a little more what she has to say.
TikTok detective and from NBC. So it doesn't sound to me, Dave Mack, that the boat was sinking, because they're going all over in the boat. So if the boat's not sinking, why the sea tow call? Why the distress call?
That's interesting. I wasn't aware of the exact timeline, but I thought that was a great example. On the photo, it does look like the back is down in the water when they're hooking the rope to it. Listen, I don't own a boat. I know nothing about boats. So something does sound shady. Let's get into the Marine report. Why don't we? We'll reread this, and then we'll go through a couple other things. So, MDMR, Marine Patrol, missing person, non-criminal report. Okay. Involved entities. Bart. That is the friend that is now suing creators for defamation. We'll get into that next. Information. I haven't read this, so bear with me. When reported July 5th, 2026 at 10:05 p.m. 10:05. On Saturday, July 4th, 2026 at 23:49 hours, Mississippi Department of Marine Resources Lieutenant Patrick Caron was advised by dispatch of a caller reporting a missing male, Nolan Wells, on Horn Island. The caller told dispatch her 18-year-old son rode to Horn Island on a vessel with friends, was last seen around 1500 hours. His phone was in a friend's truck, and all the friends said they had returned from the island. Based on information provided at the time, Karen asked dispatch to forward the reporting party, which is Christine Wells, Nolan's mom, to Jackson County Sheriff's Office to make an official missing persons report. Shortly thereafter, a dispatch advised a reporting party was calling JCSO and that the United States Coast Guard had been notified. At approximately 01:38 hours on July 5th, 2026, Caron spoke with Ocean Springs Police Department regarding the complaint and advised that JCSO would be taking lead on the case. Caron also spoke with JCSO Lieutenant Odom, the shift supervisor, who said they had taken the initial report. He said his deputies had spoke with several friends that traveled to the island on the vessel with Nolan, and that when they left, he was in the company of an unknown female and that he chose to remain at the island. Based on the information provided, Odom did not have a reason to believe there were any water-related exigencies or emergencies, and he believed that the most likely scenario was Nolan rode in on another vessel but did not have his phone in his possession to make contact with family. No further action was taken by Caron or his shift the morning of July 5th. So it said that so there's a little more information about the phone, right? Because we're like, why did the friend have the phone? But it was in the friend's truck. Still, why not call his mom right away? At approximately 1800 hours on the evening of July 5th, 2026, Caron reported to the command posted established by JCSO at Lake Mars Pier and assisted with efforts to include sending a MDMR patrol vessel and crew to the northwest tip of Horn Island to conduct sonar surveys of the area. The sonar surveys were inconclusive and terminated due to the adverse weather conditions. Interesting. On July 5th, 2026, at approximately 9 a.m., MDMR Lieutenant Colonel Gex requested drone assistance from MDMR Captain Freeman as part of the search and rescue for Nolan Wells at Horn Island. MDMR Lieutenant Matt Kasovich transported Freeman by vessel to Horn Island. At approximately 10 a.m., Freeman attempted 3 launches with no success. A software issue was identified and unable to be repaired in the field. At approximately 10:30 a.m., Freeman requested Senior Master Sergeant Shay Smith report for duty with additional drones. Freeman and Kasovich picked up Smith and transported him to Horn Island. At approximately 12:40 p.m., Smith launched the first drone flight. The location was, there's coordinate points. The search area was approximately 0.1 square miles and consisted of a parallel search pattern. The second flight launched at 1:22 p.m. This search area was approximately 0.1 square miles and consisted of a parallel search pattern. The second flight ended abruptly due to a battery separation from the drone. The excessive heat caused the lithium-ion batteries to swell. Further flights attempted were canceled due to excessive heat. Nolan Wells was not located during either flight. And then it says, see image, of the flight areas. Let's go down to the next page. On July 8th, 2026, at approximately 13:41 hours, Jackson County Captain Kristen Johnson requested GPS file download assistance from MDMR Captain Freeman as part of the search and rescue for Nolan Wells at Horn Island. Officer Shay M. Smith was assigned to download data contained on the vessel on 2 different vessels. On July 8th, 2026, at approximately 16:09 hours, MDMR officer Shay M. Smith met with Bart, located, so there's an address which is redacted. Edmonston provided Smith with a driver's license and boat registration card. Edmonston signed the permission to search form and escorted Smith down the pier. Vessel MI-1295 CB was in boat lift on the north side of the residence. The vessel contained a pair of Garmin GPS map, chart plotters, and wired for sonar waypoint and chart sharing syncing. Smith inserted a 32 gigabyte card into the unit and followed the prompts to download data to a memory card. A single ADMF file was downloaded and labeled. On July 8th, approximately at 17:10 hours, MDMR officer Shay M. Smith met with Jerry Adkerson and Jennifer Pyron, located at Redacted. Adkerson provided Smith with a driver's license and a vessel registration. So it was his grandpa's boat then. ETS. Nolan's phone was left on the boat, I believe, then transferred to someone's truck. A single ADM file was downloaded and labeled on July 9th, 2026 at approximately 0900 hours. MDMR officer Shay Smith made a working copy of each of the files. Smith and Garmin home port to open files. Each file contained the following. So it contained waypoints, tracks, and routes. On July 10th, 2026 at approximately 0930 hours, MDMR officer Shay Smith used, oh, I already read that. Did I read that part? Home port to convert the ADM file into a GPX file. The GPX file was ingested into Google Earth to develop PowerPoint slides with the data and times and routes of vessel MI4088BU displayed on over satellite imagery. The following timeline was established. Okay, so that's where they get it. The part we just watched on Nancy Grace. 0956 vessel departs. 1114 vessel arrives west tip Horn Island. GP at 1115 GPS dropping points consistent with stationary position and GPS. 1631 vessel departs west tip Horn Island northbound between 0.6 and 4.2 knots for approximately 2.75 miles. At 1725 vessel regains normal operation. Speed is 30 to 35 knots. 1744 vessel arrives at El Camino Real Road. 1752 vessel departs at El Camino Road and headed east into Fort Bayou. 1806 vessel returns to redacted El Camino Real Road. 1836, this is on July 4th. Vessel departs El Camino Real Road, heads southwest to St. Martin Bayou, turns southeast to Biloxi Bay Bridge, then back north to Fort Bayou boat launch. 1919, vessel arrives at Fort Bayou boat launch. 1947, vessel was trailered to redacted Cardinal Lane. 1959, last data point record on July 4th, 2026. And then it goes into July 5th, 0932 powered on. And then it says 0951 powered on question mark, vessel moved 52 feet. Interesting. 0953 powered on, again powered on at 1027. 1650 MDMR officer Strickland powered on GPS. Photos of screen for search coordinates. 77. Now this is July 7th. 1810 powered on. And now we're on the 8th. 1713 MDMR officer Smith powered on GPS. Permission to search 1 ADM files downloaded. On July 8th, 2026, at approximately 1341 hours, Jackson County Captain Kristen Johnson requested GPS file download assistance from MDMR Captain Freeman as part of the search and rescue for Nolan Wells at Horn Island. Officer Shay M. Smith was assigned to download data. Okay. On July 8th, at approximately 1609 hours, MDMR officer Shay Smith met with Bart Edmonston, located at Redacted. Edmonston provided Smith with a driver's license and boat registration. Edmonston signed the permission to search form and escorted Smith down the pier. The vessel was in a boat lift and on the north side of the residence. I think we just read through this, no? The vessel contained a pair of Garmin chart plotters. Okay. Yeah, we did already read this part, I thought. But it says on July 9th at 2026 at approximately 0900 hours, MDMR officer Shay Smith made a working copy of each of the ADM files. Okay, yeah, we just read that. Wonder if these are just, oh yeah, I think it's just duplicates. Wait, no, it's not. On July 5th, 2026, at approximately 11:55 hours, Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, Office of Marine Patrol, Master Sergeant Jacob Strickland received a call from Captain William Freeman to locate and interview a female subject that was possibly involved with the missing person on Horn Island. Ah, so this is where Katie, I believe her name is. Is that who they're referring to here? Officer J. Strickland reported to the residents of Laney Laney in Pascagoula, Mississippi, who was initially reported to be, oh, okay. Oh, so it wasn't her. Reported to be on Horn Island with the group of people associated with Nolan Wells. When interviewed, Laney stated that she had already spoken with Jackson County Sheriff's Department investigators and stated that she was not on Horn Island, but in fact was on Petit Boys Island with a different group of friends. Laney stated that she knew Wells, but had not seen or spoken to him in over a year. I hadn't heard anything about a Laney human being. Officer Strickland followed up on some other possible names associated with Wells that may have seen him at Horn Island that day. Jacob Woods of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, was not at home when Strickland checked his residence. Officer Strickland reported to the residence of Drew in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, no contact was made. At approximately 16:30 hours, Officer Strickland contacted Wyatt Pyron's mother, Jennifer Pyron, who stated that Wyatt had already spoke to the Jackson County Sheriff Department investigators earlier in the day, but would cooperate in any way that they were needed. Okay, well, there's proof that they did try to cooperate to some extent, right? Yeah, that's the random chick. I was thinking it was Katie, but it wasn't. I'm just checking in with you guys. And didn't someone have to go to demand his phone? Yeah, his mom. What took 2 days? Good question. Officer Strickland was given verbal consent to view the Garmin GPS on Pyron's vessel. Officer Strickland observed the track lines showing Pyron's vessel location on Horn Island to narrow down the search for Wells. The GPS displayed that the vessel was located near the western tip of Horn Island for the date of July 4th, 2026. Officer Strickland was notified that Jackson County Sheriff's Department was taking lead on the missing person investigation. MDMR officer would be going in a supporting role for the remainder of the investigation. So these are just supplemental reports from different people's. On Sunday, July 5th, 2026, at approximately 0800 hours, Lieutenant Colonel Byrex Jex and Captain Jack Ewing with the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources launched patrol vessel Admiral Dewey at Biloxi Small Craft Harbor. Officers aboard the Admiral Dewey traveled to the northwestern tip of Horn Island in search of a reported missing person on the island. It was reported that an 18-year-old black male, Nolan Wells, did not return home from Horn Island the evening prior with the other people aboard the vessel. Wells's last known reported location was northwest tip of the island. Upon approach of the island in the channel, a vessel signaled intent to speak with officers Gex and Ewing. Aboard the vessel was Wells' former high school teacher, later identified as Les George, and Wells' parents, Christine and Elmore. Officers Gex and Ewing introduced themselves and exchanged phone contact information with George to stay in touch during the search. George explained that they and other private citizens had been on the island on the northwest tip looking for Wells. Gex and Ewing started an initial search of the southwestern shoreline and dunes to rule out any possibilities. Wells ended up there overnight. The search of the southwestern side produced no results. Gex and Ewing began to search by vessel to the water surrounding the northwestern tip looking for any signs of Nolan. At approximately 0900 hours, Gex called MDMR Captain Will Freeman, captain over investigations for drone search capabilities, to respond to the island to assist. Observed search efforts in the area were National Park Service, multiple Jackson County vessels, Biloxi Fire Service vessel, a Civil Air Patrol plane, and a Jackson County helicopter. Multiple privately owned vessels and the crew assisted in searching for Wells also. Approximately 12:30 hours, the Admiral Dewey with Gex and Ewing returned to the mainland to refuel. Captain Freeman and Lieutenant Kasovich and investigator Shay Smith aboard patrol vessel number 8822 stayed near the northwest tip of the island and continued to run drone searches for Wells. So here's like a little bit more of a timeline. 7:05, 10:05 call created. Original CAD 1013 per MP9 if Biloxi Fire would like to assist. 1014 Charity at BPD asking if they could help. 1018 Keith of Harrison, 2 beach patrol units and 1 marine patrol. 10:34, Keith units are on the way. 10:49, advising that Biloxi fire is at their location. MP3 advising that they can launch at any time. So this is just everyone getting on deck. 10:53, Biloxi fire radio check. 10:58, MP4 speaking with PR 210 in regards to hello en route. 12:40, drone start. Second drone, 13:22. 13:52, done with drone flights, heading back in. 14:19, at the Chimney Stacks, Horn Island. Call closed, call closed. Call has been briefly reopened to allow on July 8th to allow an assignment change. MP16 is being assigned to the case. Call closed. So those are just the call logs. Interesting. Okay, now that we read that, I don't even know what to think, to be honest. Clearly they did search for him and others did assist. So there's that important detail. Let me pull up what we're going to review next. Let me check in with you guys first. A lot of people involved to take 2 days, especially the people there. Yes, and they were in what they call the washing machine northwest part of Horn Island. Ended up being on the Xbox or something silly, and he claimed he couldn't find it, right? Yeah, the friend in the phone. Mom was actually told about the phone. I don't know if her being so upset she forgot she was told or what, but Warren says he told her, and then it's in police report. She tells officers in the truck. Yeah, I've heard about people saying I think she made a post about it. The kid friend on the emergency call sounded like Paul Murdaugh. Interesting. Okay, so there's that report. I want to go, we're going to jump around a little bit to News Nation. So we can hear a little bit of what the family has to say. And then we'll get over to the lawsuits. Hold please. We're just trying to get all the facts, all the recent updates.
Now, it's been nearly a month since the body of a Black Mississippi teen, Nolan Wells, was found off the shore of Horn Island. Local authorities were quick to say they had no proof of foul play. But Nolan's parents felt the Black teen's mysterious death wasn't getting the full investigation it deserved. In the last few weeks, the case has dominated social media, dueling accusations of racism. Here's what one of the young men with Nolan that day had to say about race playing a part in this case.
His mom got on TV, as everybody has seen, and said that she didn't know me. And
we're going to watch these interviews with the friends after we review the lawsuit.
Man, that can't be farthest from the truth. Me and her son went on trips together. We went to Florida for spring break together.
Oh, wow.
You don't know me? I'm in all these homecoming and prom photos as our whole friend group. Me and Nolan are standing next to each other. You don't know me. Him being the only Black person, minority, any of that measure is insane. Our friend group is diverse from the max. Like, we have a mixed guy. I mean, we had Nolan in our friend group. There's an Asian a part of our friend group. There's a Latino that they're trying to perceive as white. He's truly authentic Mexican. His parents are from Mexico.
Nolan's parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, join me now with counsel, Ben Crump. Thank you for joining us. I'm very sorry it's under these circumstances, but the job here is to give you a platform to keep people aware of your concerns. And Christine, I'll start with you. At this point, what is your biggest question about what's happening with this investigation?
It is really the same question that started it all, which is what happened to Nolan. That is the only question that we want answered. We just want to know what happened to our son. I know I personally, through my social media, also Attorney Ben and his team through their social media. That's been the big focus, you know, just trying to make sure that everyone understands that at the end of the day, we would want what any parent would want, which is answers to find out what happened.
Understood. Understood. Elmore, you heard that kid Trace in the interview say that he was friends with Nolan and that you guys would know him. Do you know him? Do you recognize him?
No, I don't. Just because you
Wait, he says, no, I don't. I can't wait to watch this interview with the friends. We'll watch that after the notice of lawsuit, like I said, so don't worry.
park your vehicle in someone's yard doesn't mean that they have to know you. Sounds more to me like he's more focused on getting people to know him and getting away from the fact that his so-called best friend is not here anymore. Everyone that they may have interviewed are at home. Our son isn't. Our son should be in college right now. We should be receiving phone calls from him about how his day went, but we can't. And we just want everybody to focus on what the real subject matter is.
Understood.
And that is
Understood.
What
One of the key aspects early on here, counsel, has been Nolan's phone. Originally, with why was it on the boat? Why was he separated from it? There are explanations about that. Was anything done to it? One of the friends responded to that suggestion. Let me play it for you and get your response.
None of us had a reason to go through Nolan's phone. I mean, there's multiple phones on the boat. Why would it be? And the boat was having issues. Why would our concern be getting on Nolan's phone or something? I mean, I don't even know Nolan's password. None of my friends do. We had no reason ever to get on Nolan's phone and look at anything. I didn't even touch Nolan's phone. None of us touched Nolan's phone until somebody took it off the boat and put it in Wyatt's truck, and then no one touched it until we handed it back, to the mom that was at my buddy's house.
But hold on. It was in the truck, but then it was moved from the truck inside the house. And then it was found on like an Xbox or something, right? So
Counsel, does that square?
Chris Como, Nolan is dead. We're going to dot every I. We're going to cross every T. We're going to look under every rock. His mother called his phone repeatedly with no answer.
Oh, somebody in the chat said the keys were in the house, not the phone. They claim they didn't know where the phone was. No, the keys were on the Xbox, but the phone went from the boat into the truck. Interesting.
That raises questions. That's all we want to get to is answers. If this was your child, Chris Como, wouldn't you want to ask every question possible for everybody who was on Horn Island to say, did you see what happened to Nolan? What happened? Where was he at? And that's all they're asking, and people are attacking them for trying to get answers. Can you imagine that? She's getting attacked at her job. She's getting bad job reviews. She had never gotten any in her entire career. And now, since she's been going on TV saying, I want to get answers for my son, she's been attacked by sick individuals trying to, I guess, in some way discourage them from continuing to say his name and say that we won't let it be swept under the rug.
I understand that. Obviously, that's why we're all together right now, right? Christine, I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to get these answers. Do you believe, or do you have any reason to believe, that this investigation is doing exactly what you want it to do?
Yeah, the comment, I saw someone say if his parents didn't know his friends, who did they think he was with that day? Good question.
Sure. Well, we know at the beginning they started out saying there was no foul play even before there was any investigation, Chris. So that was a concern to them at day one.
That was the trigger for why we felt we had to go this route, because it wasn't even hours after they had found his body where I'm watching on the news that the sheriff is saying likely an accidental drowning. We do not feel there's any foul play, but yet stories are not lining up. And so from there, that's why we're here now.
Elmore, again, I really don't know how you guys are holding it together and being able to stay focused. But I'm here for it as long as there is the need. When you look at this situation, what is your darkest concern that you just want to make sure isn't true?
I've already lived my darkest concern. We just want the truth. We just want someone to be brave enough to stand up and give us the truth. We can't grieve the way we need to because we're being disrespected. We're being called all kind of racist, bad parents. We were not raised like that, and we did not raise our children like that. So we just want the truth. Any parent would want that. Any father would want that.
Understood.
Any mother.
Understood and true. And I know that we know one thing, and I know that this.
They want the truth. That's fine. But is it, I know they haven't implied it. So, well, I mean, I feel like this is a little bit off. Someone said this case will make your head spin. Yeah, we'll get into some post about some other stuff. And
This is not a time for solace, but there is one thing that has become constant in this story. You raised a beautiful young man who everybody sees exactly through that lens, that he was everything that you would want a son to have. And I have one just about that age. And everything I hear is exactly what you would want to hear, even in this young life. So God bless Nolan and his memory. And we will stay on this story and get the answers as soon as they can come. And if we can help in any way, that's why we're here. Counsel, thank you for making this happen. Christine, I mean it. We're a call away. And Elmore, I'm very impressed by your strength and your focus in this moment. God bless, and we'll be here.
Yeah, the stories, let me go back. Nolan's parents are only looking for the truth. Jerry says stories can not line up and it still be an accident. I agree. I do. My opinion is just unknown at this time. Well, since we just watched the parents on Chris Cuomo, now let's go back to the notice that they sent to Nolan's quote unquote friends. I say that because they're acting like they don't know his friends. So I don't really know about a possible lawsuit. This was filed on the day of his funeral, if I'm not mistaken, July 20th. Nolan Xavier Wells deceased, letter of representation. It says this firm and our co-counsel represent the parents of Nolan Xavier Wells deceased. We are investigating Nolan's death, which occurred in the early days of July 2026 on or in the vicinity of Horn Island, Mississippi. Please address all future communications regarding this matter to me and my co-counsel. If you are represented by counsel, please forward this letter to your attorney. Seems like everyone has lawyered up. Hold on, I think I'm missing some pages here. Please hold. Okay, yeah. Thank you for holding. Duty to preserve evidence. You are hereby placed on notice that litigation concerning the death of Nolan Wells is reasonably anticipated. Accordingly, you have an immediate legal duty to preserve all materials of all kinds within your possession, custody, or control that may be relevant in any way to the claims or defenses. This duty includes not only to you, but also your family members. It also extends to any person or entity providing services to you, acting on your behalf, or who is subject to your control. Solicitation notice. Under state and federal law, the destruction or failure to preserve evidence may be deemed spoliation by a trial court and may result in sanctions, adverse evidentiary rulings, or a negative inference jury instruction at trial. Mississippi law recognizes that the destruction or failure to preserve relevant evidence after litigation is reasonably foreseeable, may constitute spoliation, and that may warrant apparent sanctions or adverse evidentiary consequences. Because this matter is may be litigated in federal court, recipients are further advised that the preservation of electronically stored information is governed by Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 37C, which authorizes the court to impose appropriate measures when relevant ESI that should have been preserved is lost because a party failed to take reasonable steps to preserve it and the information cannot be restored or replaced through additional discovery. Yikes. They're trying to get all their phones and whatnot. Oh, this is wild. Types and categories of evidence to be preserved. To ensure compliance, you should immediately secure and preserve in its original unaltered form a complete copy, all materials of all kinds in your possession, custody, or control that may be related in any way to Nolan Wells or the people, places, things, and events surrounding or related to his death. To assist you in this regard, attached, please find a document describing some of the types of evidence that should be preserved immediately if you have not done so already. Moreover, you should immediately suspend any setting on your cell phone, computers, video cameras, or other electronic devices capable of storing data that may overwrite or delete after a period of time. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Please do not hesitate to call or have your lawyer call me. Says, please direct all future communication inquiries to Ben Crump, Eric Hertz, and Gary Buffkin. This is a type of categories of evidence to be preserved. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Electronic communications, text messages, iMessages, multimedia messages, WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, emails, all drafts, emails, and messages, group chats, deleted or archived communications capable of discovery. So like basically it's all social media. Cellular telephones and electronic devices. Cellular phones, tablets, laptops, desktops, smartwatches, cameras, external hard drives, USB storage devices, SD cards, any other electronic storage device. For each device, you are to preserve the complete contents of each device. Social media and online accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, X, YouTube, Reddit, Discord, any other social media platform, including all posts, story, reels, videos, live streams, comments, direct messages, deleted content, metadata, login history, and account activity logs. They really don't want them to get away with any information that is related to Nolan or this case. I'm concerned that friends will be hesitant to speak now if their parents question their credibility. I think they've all lawyered up at this point, right? They have turned Nolan Wells into only in America. A Black man is number one suspect in his own death. Shake my head. Mother, APA. Dad has a good career. Straight A student on scholarship. I don't know if Katie has a lawyer, but they all need to get lawyers if it's just a smart thing to do. I think probably most of them at this point have, especially when they got this document, right? Photographs and video recordings. They want photographs, video screenshots, live photos, burst photos, drone footage, edited versions. Original files, raw image files, metadata associated with every image in video. Audio recordings, voice memos, telephone recordings, video, audio, interviews, recorded statements, dispatch recordings, radio traffic. Location information, GPS history, cellular location information, Google timeline, Apple significant locations, Find My location history, navigation and applications, geofence fence information, marina docking records, vessel tracking information. Then vessel registration, ownership records, rental agreements, marina records, dock assignments, slip records, fuel purchases. Damn. Boat inspections, maintenance, repair, navigation, GPS, electronic chart plotter data, engine data, safety equipment, passenger manifest, surveillance footage. Law enforcement records include, well, that includes like everything: incident reports, field notes, detective notes, officer notes, body worn camera, dash camera, marine patrol footage, dispatch records, CAD records, 911 call, radio communications, evidence logs, chain of custody documentation, witness interviews, recorded statements, search warrants, affidavits, digital forensic extractions. Communication of all kinds, including text messages, instant messages, and emails. Prosecutorial records, investigative files, witness interviews, recorded statements, photographs, videos, grand jury materials to the extent preservation is required by law, digital evidence received from any source corresponding concerning the investigation. Medical examiner records, autopsy preliminary findings, final reports, toxicology reports, histology, x-ray, CT scans, photographs, scene photographs, evidence logs, chain of custody, biological specimen, tissue samples, blood samples, DNA evidence, internal notes. It's a lot of stuff. Physical evidence, everything from clothing to jewelry to bags to rope, watches, personal flotation devices, any item recovered during the investigation. Cloud storage and backups also: Apple iCloud, Google Drive, Google Photos, Microsoft OneDrive, Dropbox, Amazon Carrier, cloud backups, automatic service or automatic device backups, all internet and search history, browser internet searches, download history, upload history, deleted browsing history, cached information, metadata, deleted or altered information. Preserve all information that has been deleted, modified, edited, archived, hidden, replaced, scheduled for automatic deletion, otherwise altered. I hope no one went over to their phones deleting everything, because they'll be able to tell that. Thank you, Evie, for the super. I appreciate you. Hit the like. Yes, please do hit the like button. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Evie and Sarah, for gifting. Sarah just gifted 1 membership. Can I see who got it? Yay, Crystal got it. Love that when someone who's here gets it. Thank you again. Surveillance and security recordings. So dock surveillance, parking nearby, businesses, residential, traffic cameras, law enforcement surveillance, marina surveillance. Private security recordings, communication regarding the incident, all communications with or concerning Nolan Wells, the incident that resulted in his death, any witnesses to the incident at issue, other occupants of the boat at issue, the fact and circumstances surrounding Nolan's death, occurrences between July 2nd and July 6th. Why July 2nd? Just a random date? Law enforcement concerning the incident or investigation, medical providers concerning Nolan Wells, family members of Nolan Wells, news media concerning the incident, insurance representatives concerning this incident, and social media discussions concerning Nolan Wells or this incident. Wow. So this was sent out by the parent, the family of Nolan Wells, believe the day the funeral happened. So guess there's their warning, right? I feel so terrible that his death has led to all of this. And I know it's an investigation. They need to find out, but it's like, geez, so much drama concerning it. With that being said, the officer Tatum, I think his name is, who we're going to be watching the Friends interview right now. He's under a lot of heat because, he's saying that the Friends are innocent or whatnot. There's a lot of controversy with him, but I'm still going to play the interviews because we need to get the facts from the Friends. But there's creators that are being served because they're saying things about some of these Friends. And Bart Edmonston, I believe, is the first one to file this against a creator by the name of Kimbra. I have never heard of her, but apparently she has been speaking of this case. And he's not very happy about it. So this is short document, and then we'll get into the friends interviews. So it says Law Office of Russell Latino, Kimbra, cease and desist, demand for apology and correction, and preservation of evidence notice. You know, this is a bad side too when covering in these cases is you got to be really careful. Dear Miss Lee, I have been retained to represent Bart Edmiston Jr., a Mississippi resident, in response to numerous false and defamatory statements you have published on social media channels under your control, including but not limited to Facebook, Instagram channels operating under the name of Kimbra Lee. We have also determined two potential aliases, including Suzanne and Lauren. The correspondence serves as a formal demand that you immediately cease your unlawful conduct, preserve all evidence relating to your publications, retract and correct your false statements, and take immediate steps to mitigate the substantial damages your actions have caused and will continue to cause. Please read this letter carefully. If you are represented by counsel, please have him or her contact me at the earliest convenience. Nothing contained herein constitutes a complete statement of Mr. Edmiston's factual or legal positions. He expressly reserves all rights and remedies available under Mississippi law and any other applicable jurisdiction. We also have submitted or are in the process of submitting information to the FBI, U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Mississippi and the Eastern District of Louisiana, Attorney General's offices in Mississippi and Louisiana, and local law enforcement in Jackson County, Mississippi, and Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, to determine if your conduct violates federal and/or state criminal laws that prohibit cyber stalking and harassment. I don't know who this person is. And what she's posted, and I'm not gonna review that here. I guess if you want to look on your own time, that's okay. No bueno. Your repeated doxing efforts that include publishing his address, pictures of his home, and land plats of property, expose my client and his family to considerable safety risks. Indeed, as of yesterday, my client received a credible death threat being investigation by federal and state law enforcement. I don't blame Bart. I know that, I'm up here talking about true crime too, but it's like this is a very it involves race, and that can get pretty wild and dangerous because it is a very serious issue, right? So I don't want to knock that because that he's getting death threats. I mean, who wants to get death threats, Yikes. Yeah. Here's the factual background. Nolan Wells disappeared on or near Horn Island off the coast of Jackson County, Mississippi on July 4th, 2026. Attempts to find him began on or about the evening of July 4th, 2026. His body was ultimately discovered deceased off the shore of Horn Island on July 6, 2026. An investigation was launched into his death by a law enforcement official and remains sealed pending its complete and submission to a Jackson County grand jury. The case has garnered substantial national attention and considerable unsubstantiated speculation. Beginning during the weekend of July 25th through the 26th of 2026, and continuing thereafter, you have published dozens of videos, written posts, photographs, comments, and other content concerning the death of Nolan Wells, many of which sought to erroneously implicate Bart Edmiston. Among other things, you have represented or implied as fact that 1, Mr. Wells was a victim of criminal conduct up to first-degree murder. 2, Mr. Wells died aboard a boat off the coast of Horn Island. 3, Mr. Edmiston was one of 3 suspects implicated in the death of Mr. Wells. 4, Mr. Edmiston engaged in specific conduct that caused or contributed to Mr. Wells's death. 5, Mr. Edmiston concealed information or otherwise acted inconsistently with innocence. And 6, various purported inconsistencies or official documents established Mr. Edmiston attempted to cover up his alleged role. So she has apparently accused him and been going off about this stuff. Jeez. These statements were presented to an audience approaching 200,000 followers, with the estimated combined impressions of your posts reaching into millions. Those statements have since been repeated across numerous social media platforms and other internet forums. Your assertions about Mr. Edmiston are categorically false and were made by you either with knowledge of their falsity or in reckless disregard for the truth. To date, there are no publicly available facts or evidence supporting your assertions that Mr. Edmiston is a, quote, suspect in any crime, is a, quote, suspect in Mr. Wells's death, caused or contributed to Mr. Wells's death, engaged in any conduct to obscure or conceal Mr. Wells's death or its circumstances, or engaged in any criminal wrongdoing whatsoever. You have nevertheless repeatedly presented these accusations to the public as fact. Meanwhile, your own publications demonstrate that you are speculating about matters for which you possessed no firsthand knowledge and no competent evidence. Watching the full panoply, I don't think I'm saying that right, of your videos, you have repeatedly, frequently, and erratically changed your own theories about what had happened, who was responsible, what criminal codes are implicated, and what efforts are being made to expose or cover up the truth. Mr. Edmiston has timely, fully, and voluntarily cooperated with law enforcement throughout their investigation. He sat for interviews and fully disclosed his knowledge concerning the events of July 4th, 2026. He provided a list of potential witnesses to authorities, including those who were on the boat he was piloting. He allowed for the inspection of his phone, his boat, and GPS without hesitation and without a warrant. He shared requested videos and photos from that day. He has been an open book with authorities, and at no point have authorities identified him as a person of interest or suspect in any crime. The investigative file concerning the death of Nolan Wells has been sealed by the Jackson County District Attorney pending completion of the investigation and to preserve its integrity. Great. Yeah, we're not getting the original medical examiner report, toxicology report, and autopsy. And now it looks like everything's going to be sealed or has been sealed. You repeated false assertions of fact concerning Mr. Edmiston's supposed criminal culpability, therefore are not based upon publicly available investigative findings because none exist. They are figments of your uninformed imagination, and they are dangerous. Publication of personal information places Mr. Edmiston and his family at safety risk, has created emotional distress, and is interfering with their business interests. By the way, I actually did see a clip of this creator, and I saw this on X, so I lied to you guys. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I watched one clip on X. I might have it too for us to go over, but she was like, now that I know who she is, she made a little video, and she was basically saying like, I don't really give a shit that I'm being served this. So I don't know if that means she's not complying or is. Your conduct extends beyond false accusations. You have repeatedly published photographs of Mr. Edmiston's residence, his residential address, land plats identifying his property, information concerning his family members, information concerning family businesses, references to his university, his place on university's football team, and his potential to play in the NFL. Oh, I didn't know that. No bueno. Publishing identifying information up to and including his location alongside allegations that Mr. Edmiston is a suspect of the death of Mr. Wells, that he caused or contributed to Mr. Wells's death, or that he is implicated in efforts to conceal Mr. Wells' death or their circumstances behind it, foreseeably exposes Mr. Edmiston and his family to harassment, threats, intimidation, and physical danger. It also significantly magnifies the damages resulting from your publications. To compound the safety risk you are creating for his family, your posts deliberately seek to cause financial harm or the loss of opportunities for Mr. Edmiston and his family. You have posted both of his parents' place of employment, and in one video, bragged about coming for his father's money since he is a physician. Separately, you have discussed interrupting Mr. Edmiston's opportunity to potentially play in the NFL. Anticipated causes of action. Your conduct gives rise to multiple causes of action, including but not limited to defamation, defamation by implication, false light invasion of privacy, tortious interference with existing and prospective business relationships, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. This summary is intended to give you a sense of the anticipated claims that will be pursued in litigation and not to provide an exhaustive listing of the legal theories Mr. Edmondson and his family may pursue. We reserve all the rights to assert additional claims. We fully anticipate seeking compensatory damages, presumed damages, whether authorized by law, consequential economic damages, emotional distress damages, punitive damages, prejudgment interest where available, cost, and all the other relief permitted by law. This is necessary in some cases, but that I'm not going to speak of now because we're not talking about them. But this is very interesting, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of this type of stuff. Demand for immediate cessation of activity and preservation of evidence. Mr. Edmondson demands that you immediately cease making any further false statements concerning him or his family. To paraphrase Will Smith, keep their names out of your mouth. Whoa. 2, change every Facebook, Instagram, or other social media post, no matter the platform, which refers to Mr. Edmondson to private, locked, or an equivalent setting that removes the material from public view while preserving the content in its original form for evidentiary purposes. Immediately cease publishing or republishing Mr. Edmondson's address, photographs of his residence, land plats, identifying information concerning his property, or similar material. Immediately cease encouraging or facilitating harassment directed towards Mr. Edmondson, his family, or his associates. Preserve every document, draft recording, photograph, screenshot, text message, email, direct message, metadata file, an analytics record, monetization record, communications with third parties, and electronically stored information relating in any way to your publications concerning Mr. Edmondson or Mr. Wells. The demand extends to all devices, cloud accounts, and social media accounts under your possession or control. Wow. You should understand that we will be simultaneously putting Meta on notices to preserve all ESI related to your accounts and subpoenaing the same information. Holy moly. This girl really done messed up. I have not seen her post, so I cannot say. I mean, I guess we can go look. Destruction, I just don't even think I want to go there. Destruction or alteration of relevant evidence after receipt of this letter may constitute spoliation and may result in additional sanctions and adverse inferences or being held in contempt. Demand for public correction and apology. Ooh, this girl better take that video down that I saw on X. Although Mississippi law does not require Mr. Edmondson to afford you an opportunity to retract your defamatory statements before pursuing litigation against you, Mr. Edmondson is nevertheless extending that opportunity and will take it into account. Accordingly, we demand that you publish a correction and apology with substantially the following substances. Oh my, this is what they want her to say. Hi, Killa Swag, member for 16 months. I appreciate you. Good to see you. Thank you for being a member and supporting. Okay, so this is what this statement says. And I quote, I previously made statements asserting or implying that Bar Edmondson was a suspect in, responsible for, or otherwise involved in the death of Nolan Wells or in its cover-up. I acknowledge that I had no factual basis for making those assertions. At present, the investigative file concerning Nolan Wells has been sealed pending completion of the investigation, and I possess no evidence establishing that Mr. Edmondson committed any crime, caused or contributed to Mr. Wells's death, or otherwise concealed the cause of his death at the time of my statements. My prior statements concerning Mr. Edmondson were conjecture and speculation devoid of factual support. I retract those statements and apologize to Mr. Edmondson. I would add that since you hold yourself out as a law professor, if that is factually inaccurate and or if you are not a licensed attorney, you should include that admission in your apology. It is not unreasonable to infer that some of your audience might believe your defamatory statements are credible because of perception that you have specialized knowledge about the law. Wait, she says she's a law professor. I need to know if that's true or not. That's not good if she is, and she's getting served this. Mr. Edmund, it's not ethical, I guess. Mr. Edmiston fully reserves the right to pursue litigation regardless of whether a correction is published. However, your willingness or refusal to promptly correct the record will necessarily be relevant to issues of malice, damages, punitive damages, and mitigation. Unless we receive written confirmation within 5 business days of your receipt of this letter and that you have fully complied with each of the foregoing demands, Mr. Edmondson is prepared to pursue all available legal remedies without further notice. So 5 days, eh? Wonder when she got it. What day did I say this? July 29th. Oh, yesterday. Okay. Well, we'll see if she stops doing what she's doing. That is wild. That is wild. That is wild. This case is a little bit out of control. Thank you, Wavy, for being a member for 7 months. Appreciate you. Good to see you. With that being said, we can now, I guess, get into the friends interviews. We did watch the first one with Officer Tatum and Warren, but we're going to watch them all now. Like I said, Officer Tatum is that what his name is? Yeah, the Officer Tatum show. He's under a lot of scrutiny and controversy because of this case as well. I don't know him. I don't watch him, so don't come for me. We're just playing the interviews. I know people feel a way about him, and I respect that, but I just want to get the information that the friends have. So we're gonna start with who did I say that was? Warren.
Very pointed questions. I mean, just straight out. The first thing I want to ask you is, did you kill Nolan? All right, Warren, we had a chance to get to know each other over the last 2 days. Went out to Horn Island. So I've had an opportunity to talk to you about a few things. And the things that you've told me have literally blown my mind. But the world haven't had a chance yet to hear your story, to hear Nolan's story through you, through his friend. And it's not just you, it's a bunch of y'all. But, you know, some of the other guys were afraid because of the threats and the violence that's been threatened against their lives and all of the above. But you decided that you wanted to take this bold step and give a statement and, you know, get your side out here. And I want to start at the very beginning of all of this and ask you, what was your relationship like with Nolan? Who was he to you?
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school, high school, and in our freshman year of college, you know, we talked on the phone all the time. We were really close friends. And I mean, Nolan was like a brother to me. And Nolan lit up every room he walked in. He always had a smile on his face. He always had something good to say. I've never seen Nolan get in an argument with somebody and say bad things about someone. You know, there's a lot of people that talk crap nowadays, and Nolan was never that person. Sweetest soul ever. And I mean, I had a great relationship with Nolan. I've never got in an argument with Nolan. We were super close, and I've never said or will ever have anything bad to say about Nolan Wells.
Yeah, and you guys, you said you kind of grew up together. Mm-hmm. Did you know his mom, or how was that? Because I saw in the media where it appears that she may have said, at least I saw in part, that she said as if she didn't know any of you guys.
Right. Well, Nolan a lot of the times was at like my house and at my buddy's house. We never went to Nolan's house and hung out. I mean, and my friend group's very, very tight knit. I mean, we hang out every.
I agree. Selena says people feel a certain way because he's a Black man with a voice who's not taking the radical racial point of view. Yeah, he's not.
Every day when we're back home from school. In high school, we hung out most weekdays and every day on the weekend. And I mean, we were never at Nolan's house, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But I met his father, and I mean, in 8th grade, that's when Nolan and I like got really close. It was COVID year, and we were in class all year long together, me and a couple of my buddies. And Nolan and I just got super tight because we'd get a Waffle House once a week together, eat. And I mean, we were just super, super close. But his dad would swing by Wildflies, and like, hang out around us, but never, I was never around Nolan's parents a lot, but I mean, that didn't change our relationship any. Nolan and I were still just as close, and he was just as close with my friends as, anyone else. So.
And walk me through the day of 4th of July where you guys were all going out.
Right.
This seems like something that I would assume that may have occurred more than just this year.
Yeah, of course.
Was it something that you guys did more than just this year? It's a two-part question. I want to know, is it something that you guys typically did together, that you hang out often in this fashion? And then I want you to then walk me through 4th of July this year when the incident happened.
Okay. Being from the Gulf Coast, there's boating and fishing is very, very popular. The 4th of July, every year, my friends and I, or my family and I, are out on the water. I mean, that's the one day is guaranteed everybody's going out. And that's a known thing. Everybody's trying to get a ride out to Horn Island, or, people go to Ship Island, but most of everybody from Ocean Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year, and he was, this was a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home. Very, very common. That's what we like to do. My friends like to fish also, and like to go on the boat, not just fishing, but like to go on the boat, like to go on sunset cruises, like to do it all, on the water, And Nolan loved to do that too. I mean, he was not like he was just like everyone else in our friend group. He loved to go on the water and, have a good time with the guys. And that's what we did a lot. But 4th of July, everybody was out there. Like I said, like Nolan was always trying to go on the boat, trying to go out there with us. And he was always welcome to come. Nolan was always out there with us. And, but started 4th of July, my buddies and I had talked about this week's upcoming, everybody's very, very excited for the 4th of July from down here. Like it's a big thing.
It's a big deal.
Very, very big deal. And, I actually stayed with Nolan that night at my buddy's house, and I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. Nolan was not with me. And, I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy, and we went, topped the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's an 18-foot Palm Beach. And I drove the boat from Fort Bayou Boat Launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all planned to meet up that day. And
you say we all, who you talking about? You, Nolan, and how many people are going to meet you guys there?
We had roughly 20 to 30 people coming on 3 separate boats with us. And so we were all following each other out there as one big group. It wasn't just me and Nolan and a couple other of my buddies. There was 20 or 30 people spread out where we all met at the dock before, and then we departed to go to Horn Island. It wasn't just a couple of us. I mean, there were so many people, we had to split up between 3 boats, and we all left and all got there at the same time.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's clear, because the statements that are out there made it appear that it was just you, Nolan, and probably 2 or 3 other guys, and y'all are the only ones that went out to this island.
And that's completely incorrect. I mean, Horn Island on the 4th of July is the most popular day to be on the water.
Yeah, we did hear there was thousands of people, and no one saw or heard anything. So not that I'm saying he's lying, but I'm just saying an important detail.
Throughout the entire Gulf Coast. I mean, everybody and their mom is on the water on 4th of July, There's no telling. I mean, roughly probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4,000 people out there. There were boats lined up off the island. I mean, there was 3 rows of boats all the way until my vision ended, until I could see of people there was 1 row of boats, and then there was another row of boats, and then there was a 3rd row of boats.
Yeah.
I mean, there was people lined up all up and down the island to where, who knows? And that wasn't just, we were parked on the north side, on the west tip. it wasn't just there. I mean, there's tons of people packed out on the south side and on the east end and in the middle of the island. But just where we were, I mean, there was easily 1,000 people. It wasn't just us.
Let's go back a little bit. I want to go back to you guys at the dock, getting on the boat. You're saying there's multiple people, probably 20 or 30 people getting on 3 boats.
Right.
What boat were you on and what boat was Nolan on?
Nolan was on Wyatt's 22 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down. And Bart, I called Bart that morning. I was like, hey, man, can you take your boat out? And he was like, yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go. And I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends. Of course. I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock. And I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I. And Nolan rode out on the Triton. And then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton. And then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton. And then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people on my buddy's tide line, which is 24 tide line.
And so you guys...
In the call, they said like 7 people, right? So I don't know. I guess it's the 4 that were in the picture, but I don't know the other people that were possibly there, if that's true.
Get on, and I know a little bit more than the audience do because we went out there a little earlier because I wanted to see exactly what the drive was like, what the dock was like, how far it is out there.
Of course.
But I want you to tell, the audience, like, what was this trip like? How was the waters? Did you guys...
Oh, was it 6? I thought it was 4 in that picture on the boat.
Did you guys do anything in between the time you rode and the time you get to the island? Was there music? Was it like a big party? Like what is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously music's blasting. It's 4th of July, man. I mean, everybody's really excited. And I mean, we had a lot of people loaded down. So obviously our biggest, we're just trying to make sure everybody, gets out there safe. And so, I mean, on the way out there, it was pretty calm. I think it was blowing like 3 or 4 knots. I mean, the waters were clear. It was a great day to be on the water. Sunshine, not cloudy at all. And I mean, it was a great day to be out there on 4th of July. And so, I mean, we followed each other out and I mean, it was calm. It was calm. On the way back, it was a little more rough, but it was not anything all my buddies' boats couldn't handle, or like, it wasn't like we were getting really beat up or anything. I mean, it was pretty calm.
And so you guys get out there. I'm assuming that you line the boats up because I'm envisioning the picture of getting out there and there's hundreds of boats. Mm-hmm. There's thousands of people. Yeah. So it wasn't just you guys on a deserted island with
of course not
a few people. There's just thousands of people out there.
Right.
And there's a lot of people doing what? What does it look like when you first pull up?
I pull up and we pulled up at 10:30. I mean, it wasn't, early afternoon. I mean, it wasn't, but 10:30 is, it's still pretty early in the day. And when we got there, there was already 3 rows of boats lined up all the way, like I said, until I could see. And
you're talking, when you say all you can see, you're speaking about miles of boat. When we went out there earlier, not earlier today, but when we went out there, the island is massive.
Correct.
I mean, it's just several miles long.
Roughly 10 to 12 miles. I mean, it's...
So you think that the boats were stretching from one end to the next, or a small area of about a mile or less than a mile of boats?
Well, I mean, I think there was boats all the way around the entire island, but I think some spots were more popular than others. Like the West Tip is usually very, very crowded on the 4th of July, and everybody knows that. So that's where a lot of people park because they want to be around other people. And the East End's a little more, there's not as many people, but there's still a lot of boats out there. I mean, it's not like every area of Horn Island is covered 100%.
I mean, I get like genuine vibes from him. I don't know like every single detail about, like we're all learning about this case. What is your vibe that you're getting? We do have a couple parts of this interview that we'll hear from him, but I've said it before, it really reminds me of the Riley Strain case. Remember Riley Strain and all the friends he was with, and then he was found deceased in the water and had a high alcohol level intake. I mean, it could be just that. Allegedly, there was other substances involved. That hasn't been confirmed. We don't have toxicology. I know there's a lot going on about, oh, he's doing coke. Oh, they were doing that. I don't want to throw that out there without like facts or evidence, receipts of some sort. But I mean, it could be an accident, especially being drunk. Like, I mean, if I'm anyone to talk, it would be me. And, you know, in high school, I was big into partying and whatnot. So bruh, it's so hard to tell with these kids these days. Yeah. Poor Riley, will never forget him. Yeah. R.I.P. Riley Strain. But I mean, I jumped into the Riley Strain kind of thinking the friends, you know, were responsible or knew something or should have been responsible. And it just didn't turn out that way after the fact and the investigation and everything. So.
Wow. So you get out there, y'all jump out. What do? You know, when I say jump out, you obviously not just sitting on the boat. The island is there. Like, what exactly are people doing there? Like, are you spending more time in the water?
Getting drunk and partying, enjoying the water and the sun.
On the island, in the boat. Like, how is that? How is that look out there?
I mean, everybody, as soon as you get there, I mean, there's people on boats, grabbing drinks and, you know, food, whatever else. Like, I mean, everybody is fully prepared for the 4th of July. They bring, you know, all the drinks and food that they need because, I mean, they've been preparing for 4th for a little while now. But when we got there, I helped my buddies tie the boats up because the tie line was right here, the Palm Beach was in the middle, and then the Triton.
Listen, I've said it before, you can't get me into a body of water. Maybe a boat. It's dangerous. Melly, as I said before, I think people underestimate how easy it is to drown, especially if you're, you know, partying and drunk or whatnot, which we don't know yet officially.
Was on the outer side, and there was about a drop off from where the bow was. I mean, if you jumped off the bow, you were probably about neck deep in water, but if you got off the stern, you were probably waist deep in water. I mean, but when we got there, we tied up, got, you know, bow and rear anchor set, and we tied up all the boats, made sure they were good, and everyone just got on the water. And then eventually, next thing you know, it's our group. And then, you know, next thing you know, there's 50 other people around us. And then it just grew and grew as the day came on. And, you know, I mean, that's just how it was. Everybody's drinking, you know, I mean, it's 4th of July. Everyone's just trying to enjoy themselves. And, you know, it's a big party, basically. Big party.
Yeah, so y'all pretty much having a good time. Just like anybody would imagine, 18-year-olds, probably 20-year-olds, college students, out on the island, women, you know, you probably had alcohol. Y'all having a good time.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You know, you guys out there, the friend groups are out there, 3 boats full of people that came out there that seem to be the closest friend group.
Right.
Where's Nolan in this in comparison to where you and others are at?
Well, you know, I had a couple conversations with Nolan that day, and I talked to him and a couple of my other buddies. They in a group. I was not focused on anyone solely, like looking and pointing anyone out, because there's so many people out there. I mean, I was talking to my friends that I haven't seen in a while from high school. I was talking from people I knew from college. I was talking to, you know, everybody my age and even people older than us were, you know, over there. Like, I mean, it was just a regular thing. You know, we're all used to this. We've been out to the islands before. My buddies don't just go out to the island on 4th of July, but they go out, you know, every weekend. Like, I fish the islands. I don't just, you know, fish around Horn Island. I fish around Ship Island too. So I'm very familiar with the islands. And I feel like it was just a big, I talked to Nolan, and, you know, Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking, most of everybody. And I mean, Nolan.
Who bought the alcohol? ? Yes, I agree. B12 boating is very dangerous, even more so than the roadway. But there has to be at least one person to stay sober and or responsible. I agree. Feel like that's where they messed up and something bad happened. Question is, what happened to Nolan?
Nolan seemed completely fine every time I talked to him. We had just regular conversations, and, you know, Nolan was making me laugh. I had a couple conversations with Nolan and Javon, Nolan and my buddy James, Nolan, and I mean, I could tell you, I mean, I talked to Nolan a couple times, but it wasn't like I was strictly sitting there talking to Nolan the whole day. I mean, there was hundreds of people I knew out there. So
yeah. And Nolan said something interesting. You told me about this. Something he said to you, I would say would be indicative of y'all's friendship.
Right.
And then he also mentioned something to you about that particular day and what it meant to him.
Right.
And could you share that?
Right. Yeah. So Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking, and I grew up with Nolan, and Nolan's just like I said, like just so joyful, like always happy. Like every picture I have with Nolan or picture I have of Nolan, he's smiling. I mean, like he's always happy. If I always need like a shed of light, I'm calling Nolan. And Nolan and I laugh and joke a lot. Like that's how our friend group is. We're really jokingly laugh. No one takes anything that serious. We enjoy our time together. I mean, there's never any awkwardness within our friend group. We're very, very tight. So if I ever need to get something off my chest or talk to anybody, I'm talking to all my friends. I'm not just talking to like specifically anybody. I would go out, like even if I'm having issues with something, I go talk to my group chat, and my guys are there to give me a hand anytime I need it. And all my guys are, all my buddies are the same exact way. Nolan was the same exact way. If you ever need something, I'm here, man. Like that's how he was. So.
And then you guys get ready to leave prematurely.
Right.
And explain that, because you guys got there around 10.
Yeah.
It's now 4:30.
Right.
People are still out there partying and
Correct.
they're having a good time, but something happened to where it necessitated you guys to get the boat up and running. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So.
Okay. So let's go to part 2. I have a little bit of a story time. My sister actually went through something similar to this, and I think that might be where I was traumatized a little about bodies of water. So I don't know. Maybe I still need to work through those issues. But they were on I don't remember if it was the 4th of July, to be honest, but they were on a boat in a lake, somewhat local to us, and they were partying on the boat. I'm a little smoky on the details, but one of her friends jumped in the water. And what do you call those water currents underneath the water? Is there a name to them? Sorry, it's not coming to my brain right now. But he jumped, and not a water tornado. What is it called? Like a cyclone or something? Is that right? Don't come for me, please. Anyways, he jumped in the water. That happened, and when that happened, he hit his head on a rock. The rip current. Yeah. And he passed. Undercurrent, okay? You're like, it's not rocket science. I could have just Googled riptide. I don't know. It's one of those things where, well, 1, he was drinking, right? 2, the water conditions, I guess, were not good. I'll have to talk to my sister about this story again. I just remember it was really traumatic because it was one of her really good friends, and I was really young, and I just remember her coming home, and it was a whole thing, and the police probably traumatized me a little bit. And that happened underneath the water, and he hit his head on a rock, and it caused him not to be able to to make it up, and he passed. So accidents do happen, clearly, and that is a thing. So I'll get the exact details and we can talk about it on the next Nolan Live, but that did happen to my sister and her friend. Let's go to part 2. Very scary. Hold please while I pull up. This is part 2 with Warren again. It looks like Officer Tatum, or whatever, is it Brandon Tatum, maybe? He goes out there to Mississippi, of course, to meet with all of them. Whirlpool, undertide, LOL, several names, but yes, you got to be careful, often in the rivers too. Yeah, it was a local lake, I believe it was here, that it happened, and I haven't been into that lake since, pretty much. I mean, I might have walked it, but Not on a boat, not in there swimming or nothing like that.
Nolan was on.
If I'm sitting waist deep in water and all my friends are, everybody's leaving their phone on a boat. I open the back hatch and there's water up to the batteries. And that is obviously not good. Nolan decided to stay on the island with the girl that he was with. And the girl is a witness to that too.
Yeah. We're in Mississippi right now. We're getting ready to recount the exact path that the boys took, also with Nolan Wells, from where they docked the boat at all the way out to Horn Island and back. The boys are going to explain to me exactly what went on, how many people were there, how many boats were taken out, which I think the world is going to be completely dumbfounded when they realize what the truth really is, because the lies have been pervasive. So we're right here where Nolan left on the boat, and you'll find out how many people were there, how many boats, and then we're going to take that same path out. I'm going to go look at Horn Island and see exactly where they could have been to get a perspective that the media don't even care to try to do. And then we're going to take the trek back, and we're going to find out exactly what happened to Nolan. This is the reason why I'm here, man. I want you guys to have a voice. I want you guys to be able to speak out and show what the truth really is, and then let the world decide. I just don't want you guys to end up in a situation where your story never gets heard. Right here is where Nolan and probably 20 other kids got on the boat. So it's not just Nolan and 3.
This is very interesting. Can you guys see the video? Okay, I'm just making sure. The island was full of coolers, so I'm sure getting alcohol wasn't a problem. You can drink there at 18 with a parent or guardian permission, but you can't buy it at 18. Yeah. So scary. Glad your sister's okay. She made sure you didn't forget about it. Yeah, it was traumatizing, man. I just remember it was like later in the evening and they came home screaming, and my dad had already got notice of it. So it was like a whole thing. But yeah, this is very interesting. I like that he went out there and did this research.
The other kids. That was a lie. That was a myth. I'm going to prove that. Right here is where the kids were docking, and we're going to show you a video that coincided. I'm going to walk at the exact angle that the video is being broadcast from, so you know that I'm exactly where I say I am. But the boys were here. Tons of people you'll see on the video is getting onto the boat, and they took 3 boats out. It wasn't just one. It wasn't just Nolan and 3 and 4 boys. It was a multitude of people on several different.
That's a nice house.
Boats, and some of the boys that they're accusing wasn't even on the boat that Nolan was on. But let me show you from the vantage point where I have the video to prove that I'm here where I say I am. And so right now, here's the angle that you're going to see on the footage. It's just from probably that boat to, maybe about 30, 40 feet here to the right. And this is where the video is showing how many people were actually out there, actually getting on the boats. So therefore it debunks very clearly that it was only Nolan and 4 boys going out here to Horn Island. All right, you guys, sorry about the sunglasses. It's very bright out here, and I never wear sunglasses, but we're at Horn Island in almost the exact same position where the boys were, where Nolan was. So if you look out right here, just so you guys can get a perspective, you have the Horn Island here, but I want you guys to put this in your mind, what this was like on that day. You have boats 2, 3, 4 deep, from way down there where you can see all the way through here.
I mean, look at the water now. It's even it's beautiful, but it's scary.
You have thousands of people on this island, probably 2,000 people. So this wasn't some abandoned, secluded island where nobody's at. Obviously, this is a Monday, and there's a few people on the backside of the island, not a lot of people here. But on 4th of July, this is a celebration. And so this wasn't a small place where 4 boys took their black friend and dropped him off and never seen him again. This place was flooded with people. Tons of people, multiple boats, multiple friend groups. I mean, everybody's here having a good time. And then the boat gets towed out because it was getting ready to sink. And so, and for what I was told, they told Nolan, get on the boat, man, get on the boat, get on the freaking boat. And he decided, because he's an adult, that he was going to stay behind. And all the boys that they've been accusing, and they saying it had something to do with his death, They were all gone at 4:30.
Okay, so I mean, we really need to know then who did he stay with and what happened. I don't want to like just say, oh my God, there's a murder roaming around on Horn Island, but I mean, okay, it could be an accident. Hypothetically, allegedly, his friends could be involved, right? But I don't know about that. And or it could have been someone else on the island. I'm just throwing options out there. Or again, I repeat, it could have been an accident. Do they think this is some sort of racial conflict? The world does, but I don't think Tatum does believe that.
They were all gone. And they told Nolan to get on the boat. He didn't. And then there was a report of somebody seeing Nolan around 6:30-ish. And so for them to come out and claim these lies, won't take the time to come to Horn Island, won't take the trip out here to figure out what happened, won't talk to anybody, pushing an agenda is wrong. And that's the reason why I came out here. I wanted to see for myself, what did this look like? What could have happened? You know, does the stories line up based on what I've seen and what I've heard from people that live here that were involved in this situation? This is where the lie started. People were putting out on social media, knowing that they're lying, that this is what it was like on a day that Nolan and his friends came out here to Horn Island. And if it was 4 or 5 people and they came out here and Nolan was with them and maybe it was a few people out here like it is today and Nolan came up missing, then maybe it would be suspicious. But they didn't take the time to give context to the people because they're evil and they're liars. So if it was like that right now, when the situation happened, I can see how people had a concern. But you got to replay this moment with thousands of people here. If anything would have happened directly involving Nolan and his friends, you can't tell me that thousands of people wouldn't have seen anything happen. And so
we just said that. We're like thousands of people, no one heard anything, he didn't scream. But again, if he's drowning, can you even scream? I know the neck and the lungs, it's creepy, it's questionable, like what the hell, right? But since we don't have that first medical examiner report, like now it's everything sealed. You know what I'm saying? Like now we don't get to know anything. But I'm pretty sure you can't like scream while you're drowning. Right? But yeah, why didn't anybody hear or see anything? But it was late. People were drunk. So there's that.
That's pretty much why I want to come here and show you guys. This is what they want you to believe it was like on that day, which is a lie. They want you to believe they came to a secluded island, just 4 of them, and then Nolan is left behind, and then his body's washed up on shore, and nobody knows what happened. Nobody could have seen what happened but the boys.
I agree, Cree. Cree says you wouldn't necessarily hear it with all those people. And if it happened pretty fast, you wouldn't necessarily see it either. Also, I go back to Riley Strain when he wandered off. Maybe Nolan tried to get back and he was drunk and wandered off. I don't know. Was there substances involved? Well, people say that there is. I don't know about it as a fact. We're not getting toxicology, at least not from the first medical examiner. I know. If this was really foul play, they're spending so much time on people who could not have been involved based on Nolan walking around the island 4:30. Yeah.
It's a flat out lie.
Look at the water right now.
Is there anything that you want to say, you want people to know about this whole experience?
Yeah, I mean, if someone's not from here, it's kind of hard to understand, where the island drops off and how the island works. But, there's plenty of people out here, especially on the 4th of July. This is where people come out to celebrate. And, I mean, if you fill the water, you can see right here, Brandon, where it drops off. I mean, you can see literally where it drops off. So, I mean, it goes from about waist deep water right there to neck deep. And then it drops from neck deep all the way to like 17, 20 foot. I mean, we weren't even a quarter mile out the island and when we were leaving, and I mean, it was 30 foot of water.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we're walking towards the east right now, but if you walk down to the west, that's where the west tip of the island is. And that's where the current picks up very, very bad.
People talk about the phone situation. I want to, because the way you articulate it, I just walked in the water with my pants. They're wet. And you can tell right away that if you're hanging out in the water, it doesn't appear, in my opinion, that you would have your phone on you. Is that typical for people to have their phones, or?
No, I mean, people come out here, especially on the 4th and, Memorial Day, days like that, they come out here to celebrate, and people get on the water to be off their phones, first off. Second off, if I'm sitting waist deep in water and all my friends are, everybody's leaving their phone on a boat, in a lake, if you're sitting on a pond, and no one's getting out of the water with their phone in their hand, unless, it's to take a quick picture. But most of the pictures taken on the 4th of July were on the boat.
Yeah.
I mean, and, salt water, if you drop your phone in salt water, most of the time you're not going to get it back. Yeah. I mean, especially the water's murky right now because there's been a lot of rain. You can't see, the visibility isn't good. The water isn't clear like it was last year around this time. And, no one has their phone though, usually. I mean, unless you're crazy, I'm not walking around with my phone in my hand and then walking around Horn Island,
How many people left the phone on the boat? Was it just his phone when y'all left, or did other people have phones on the boat?
Absolutely not. Like, there was at least, I rode out here on a different boat, like I told you, and I grabbed my phone when I left the Palm Beach to get on the boat with to get on the boat with Wyatt, because we were having, boat issues. And when I got on the boat, there was phones everywhere on the console. I mean, everywhere. There was everybody's phone that was sitting around the boat was on the console. Like, we had phones that we didn't even know whose they were, you know, and people just leave their phone, especially when people are drinking and, they're not in the right state of mind. A lot of people are like, oh, I'll just leave my phone and I'll get it later, and that's the way it is around here. You don't take your phone and walk around the island. There's plenty of phones on the boat and, spread out between the 3 boats that we had. And I mean, we had 20 plus people on the spread between our 3 boats. So of course, everybody's phone was on the boat. I never saw someone in the water that day sitting with their phone in their hand, scrolling on anything or even taking pictures in the water. Yeah, someone might hop out the boat. A lot of girls like to take pictures.
But there was people, right? There was videos and pictures, but we don't know that it was belonging to any of his friends.
Pictures, in the water. And so do guys, but, girls want to take pictures in the water. Half a second, you might hop out the boat and be like, oh, I'm snapping this picture of myself or of someone else. But as soon as I get back in the boat, I'm putting my phone up and I'm getting back in the water and I'm hanging out with my friends.
Yeah, that's just common sense, man. And describe to me what the day was like. I saw a video online. How hectic was it out here? I mean, right now it's barren. There's not a lot of people out here, but clearly that's not what it was on the 4th of July. So like, how dense was it with people here?
Well, I mean, you look at all the videos, that are spread out online, and a lot of them, you can't believe what you see all the time online. You know that better than anybody. But I mean, there was boats lined up all the way down the island, and there was rows. There was a first row, there's a second row. We were in the 3rd row where it drops off, and then there was even boats in front of us. And this went all the way down towards the east end of the island, and then there was people on the east tip. And we're on the north side now, but there was people on the south side too, lined up all the way down. And if you talk to anybody on the coast about this, they know that. I mean, 4th of July, this is the hot spot. This is where people want to be. This is where people want to come out, hang out with their family and friends. And
people say that you guys just left Nolan behind. I've seen reports of people saying that you just left him. I see reports of people saying that you asked him to get on the boat. You told him to get on the boat. He didn't. What's the truth in that?
Well, Wyatt was having boat issues and the bilge wouldn't pump. So the bilge is basically a pump that releases water from your boat when water comes in. So I opened the back hatch and there's water up to the batteries. And that is obviously not good. There's water almost coming over the transom, which is where your motors sit and which is by the stern, like in the back part of the boat. So obviously we were in emergency. The boat, we're trying to save the boat. It's not like we didn't ask Nolan or we just left Nolan. Nolan decided to stay on the island with the girl that he was with. And the girl is a witness to that too.
Yeah. I'm glad you cleared that up, because
that would be Katie.
I think it's important for people to have the context of like what it was on that day, what happened, what didn't happen. And the beauty of all of this is that you guys have evidence to prove that, of course, you asked Nolan to come on and different things like that. So, but anyway, man, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Always. Giving me rundown of kind of what it was like on that day.
Right.
And hopefully people can understand what the truth is and make their own decision on facts.
Right. I mean, based off like, people, there's not a lot of people that are from the Mississippi Gulf Coast that don't understand Horn Island and don't understand the way boating works. And, boating is a tight-knit community. I like to fish a lot, and, there's, everybody, a lot of people know a lot of people. Everybody knows everybody. I know a lot of fishermen on the Gulf Coast. They know me and my buddies because we like to go in the water all the time. I mean, that's what we do in the summer. And, I mean, a lot of people from the Gulf Coast know the truth behind, you don't take your phone out the boat. The little facts. It's a difficult subject. This Horn Island's like 11 miles long, not to be exact, but around 11 miles long. It's not like this is a sliver of an island. It's a quarter mile. It's like a sandbar. No, this goes on to, even if we came around this corner right here, Brandon, we couldn't even see the end of the island.
Oh, really?
It's that long.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
I thought that was the end right there.
No. I mean, it goes all the way down there. And I mean, it's a big island. There's a lot of people out here. And I mean, that's the truth. That's the way it was.
Interesting. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of talk about Katie and then her having a boyfriend. And was that Bart? Question mark? Or no? I'm not sure. Let me know if you know. But and then someone saying that, the boyfriend unalived him, and I'm just like, okay, everyone, let's Wim Hof for a second. But let me pull up the next part.
All right, so I want to be clear with this one thing, because I know you mentioned before. Is there any chance or any knowledge that you have that anybody deleted stuff from his phone?
I mean, Nolan was like a brother to me. Nolan lit up every room he walked in. 4th of July, everybody was out there. Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. The rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people on my buddy's tide line.
Yeah, so y'all pretty much having a good time. And then you guys get ready to leave prematurely.
Right.
And explain that, because you guys got there around 10.
Yeah.
It's now 4:30.
Right.
People are still out there partying and
Correct.
they're having a good time, but something happened to where it necessitated you guys to get the boat up and running. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So I had a girl come up to me and say, "Hey, your brother just got in a fight." And obviously I have a younger brother, and that's who she was talking about. And I was freaked out. So I walked over to the beach, and I didn't walk over. I ran over. I made a beeline. I didn't talk to anybody, put my drink down and walked over there. And my brother was kind of angry, and, there was a lot going on, but someone was getting pulled away. I don't know who it was. And my brother was like, "Oh, I just got in a fight, and this guy punched me in the face," and I punched him right back. And then went to the ground, and my brother put him in an arm bar. And
was Nolan involved in any of this?
Absolutely not. When I was over there, it was a bunch of younger guys like my brother's age. And I mean, Nolan, I never saw Nolan over there.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And, okay, sorry. I just lost my train of thought.
So you get ready to go. There's an issue with the boat.
Okay, yeah.
And this is what
this led up to that. That's what I'm saying.
So the fight happened with your brother, or a little scuffle. I'm assuming that it was cleared up.
Right.
You got your brother out of that situation, and then how did you find out that this boat is sinking?
Well, I walk back over, and we're probably around each other for a little bit. I mean, I wasn't thinking anything about it. I pulled my brother off the beach, and I was just like, "Listen, get in the water, hang out with us, calm down." I mean, he was calm, but I didn't want anything else to happen, And so once I got back over the boat, I got on the Triton, and the Triton had probably about 6 inches of water up to the transom. And I was freaked out because I'm good friends with Wyatt, and that was his boat. And, no water's coming out, no access water's coming out. And, it was a big issue, because I think the reason was because there were so many people getting on and off the boat. And at some point the boat was very, very crowded, and there was just a lot of people on. So that it drags water in. And eventually, I think over time, we were out there for a couple hours, the boat just started filling up with water. So I popped the starboard side hatch, and the battery was completely underwater. And so the motor wouldn't trim down. I mean, my buddy would go to trim it down from the console, and it'd trim down, and then it'd come right back up. And so Wyatt's trying to throw a rear anchor. So we're caught.
Yeah, I'm seeing your comments. These kids are young as it is. Crazy how a younger brother was there. This was a recipe for disaster. I kind of agree. True crime type of mind says the rumor is that it's Bart, the boyfriend, and that's not even Katie in the photo with Bart. And he said he don't know Katie. And Bart is the one who sent that cease and desist to the other creator. Interesting.
And he's, yelling at people. Everybody's kind of freaking out. And eventually I'm like yelling at other people, trying to tell them, calm down. Like, the boat could possibly sink, and I'm not paying attention to everyone around me. I was paying attention to my buddy's boat. And that's what all my other friends that were on that boat were doing, trying to solve the problem.
So you're on the boat now. The water is getting up to the point where the boat may be disabled to where you couldn't get it out from Horn Island. So what happens after that?
Wyatt jumps to the water, tries to throw a rear anchor, and my buddy Meyer, you're sitting looking, trying to pull trash out the bilge. And the bilge is basically a pump that pulls the excess water out the boat. So the bilge was failing to work. So any excess water was just sitting in the boat. It wasn't getting pumped out. And I looked over the gunnel, and I looked at the release hole for the bilge, and it was even with the water. So, I mean, we're all freaking out. All of our, we're not focused on anything else other than the boat. Well, then eventually my buddy Bart on the tide line is like, I'm going to pull y'all out to where we're out of all this, all this chaos. Cause we left at 4:30 and there were still just as many people there, if not more than when we got there. I mean, probably around the same amount. I mean, it was crazy. Like there was a lot of people. And, eventually Bart pulls us out. We left at 4:30, but we really weren't pulled out away from everybody. We were probably about a quarter mile out, and we had the towing strap pulled from, Bart's port side cleat or starboard side cleat, and he was on our starboard side bow. And so it was rubbing on his power pole. So Bart turned around, pulled up next to our boat, and we were just trying to get it situated. So that's when Wyatt called Cito. And Wyatt was like, calls them, because the cell service isn't great at the island. But once you can use your phone, but stuff might not.
Remember Nancy Grace and the cell phone service, but that could differ, right? It could be good there, be good here, or bad service, good service.
Not to send, and it's not great. You got maybe one bar, it won't work that well. But once you get a little off the island, you have cell coverage. And even on the island, like I called my mom when we were on the island, it was fine. Like we had enough cell coverage to make a phone call or shoot a text over, but you don't have enough cell coverage to send a picture, for example. So what?
So I want to go back. I want to touch on that real quick, because the phone thing came up at some point. And so was it when you guys got off the boat?
Yeah.
Were people taking their phones off the boat, or is that not typical? Because I know that Nolan's phone was left on the boat,
right?
Even though after you guys had left. So can you explain that? Because I think people need to understand this a little clearer.
Yeah.
Was it typical for people to have their phones left on boats, or did they keep their phones in the water?
Yeah. Everybody kind of goes out to the island to get away from, their phones and everything else. I know I got on the boat to get away from, just the regular world. And no, when you're waist deep in water, no one's carrying their phone in their hand, especially at Horn Island. The water has been very, very murky because of the rain. And when it's just very risky. If you're going to have your phone in the water, some people might for a couple minutes and maybe taking some pictures of each other, I know a lot of girls like to take pictures in the water at Horn Island. You know, guys do too. You know, like people like to take pictures, and but a lot of the pictures you see are on the boat for a reason. And so, no, I mean, if someone is on their phone in the water, they're using it real quick and then putting it right back on the boat. We were all waist deep in water. No one's sitting there scrolling on their phone. I never saw that once, and I've never seen that once. And I've been out the Highland my whole life. I mean, that's just not something people do. People aren't on their phones, and everybody has their phone, yes, but it's always on the boat. No one's getting off the boat with their phone. So
you guys get ready to leave out of there, getting towed out.
Yeah.
And then where's Nolan in this situation?
Well, Nolan was, the last time I saw Nolan was 3:00, and Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms, Katie, Katie. And Katie, Nolan was sitting there, and the last time I saw him, I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head, laughing, and I was like, dude, you crazy. I was like just joking with him. And but anyway, Nolan, that was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving, obviously no one is getting left at the island that came with us unless they demanded to, be there and asked, this is a very common thing at Horn Island. When you're out there, a lot of people ride out there with someone and in with somebody else all the time. I've done that 100 times. It's a very common thing, but Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues. And no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat. And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here. I'm going to ride in with somebody else. And it's not uncommon to hear, but it's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat. Get on the boat. We're leaving. If you're coming, you got to come now. And Nolan made a decision to stay out on the island. And like he said,
how many people heard that? Were there just
at least
just a
5
few,
everyone that was on our boat right there, because the Palm Beach had already left. My buddy went ahead and went home on the Palm Beach, and 3 guys on the way back. And Nolan wasn't the only person to ride out there with us and in with somebody else. I mean, we had multiple people in our group that rode out with us and rode in on someone else's boat. And that, like I said, that's not an uncommon thing to do. I mean, a lot of people do that. I could name probably 50 people out there that day that ran out with somebody and ran back in with somebody else. So, I mean, it's not like it's an uncommon thing, but it's not like we just left him there or my friends just left him there. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island after my friends asked him multiple times and told him to get on the boat, and he decided to stay.
And I heard the girl that he was with, Katie, had text somebody that she heard people yelling
correct
for Nolan to get on it. Is that true?
And I have a picture of that. She texted my buddy, and the next day everybody was panicking and everybody's texting Katie, because she was obviously seen with Nolan the whole day at the island. Katie sent a message to my buddy the next day and said, this is the last time I saw him, he's really sweet. But she also mentioned that the last time she saw Nolan was when my buddy was yelling at him to get on the boat. And she was right there to see that Nolan decided not to.
Yeah. And so you guys get in the boat.
So that was it. They were kind of flirting. He was cradling her. She hears that he's supposed to stay with her, but that's it then?
Start to get towed in and you make it back. Now explain how did you get to the point where you were concerned about Nolan? Because obviously you said, hey, Nolan, y'all need to, or somebody, not
when
you,
did I get
but
to that point?
You guys had made mention Nolan need to get on a boat.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah.
You guys get back to wherever you're going.
Right.
Explain that. Did you guys go back to somebody's house, or you guys like what happened there? And then when did you feel like, well, wait a minute, where's Nolan?
Right. Okay. Well, running in was very chaotic. I mean, Nolan chose to stay on the island, so my focus wasn't on anything else other than the boat, because if the boat doesn't get in, then no one gets in. I don't want to sink out there on my buddy's boat, and no one does. But my buddy Wyatt jumped out and pulled the plug on the boat once we kind of got out there because he got the motor to trim down, and the motor trimmed down. My buddy Wyatt pulled the plug, and we planed off. We moved all the weight to the front of the boat so we could plane off, and eventually we planed off, and the boat was running. So when you're planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, you're going.
Yeah, I don't get that. So he was going to stay with Katie, but then she says that was the last time she saw him. Good question, Cree. So was he for sure verified to be seen there after they left?
We're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou, and we didn't just run straight to my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou. A couple of us jumped in the water, and Wyatt, like the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug.
Somebody said 2 witnesses saw him. Interesting. Thank you.
Back in the boat. So then after that, we went and docked it, and I went back to my buddy's house, and we ate and napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the island, so we were all tired, and eventually we go over to a girlfriend of mine. She was having people over for 4th of July. We were doing like fireworks and stuff, so we all went over there to swim and hang out. And
this infamous picture that I've seen online of Nolan in the water in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Where is this picture associated with? Because you said you guys went back to swim. Nolan wasn't with you.
Yeah.
So where is this picture at? Like, what's the context around the picture that's been floating?
That picture is taken on June 27th, a week before the 4th of July. We all went to a friend of ours in Pass Christian. We have
Interesting. Okay, yeah, we've seen that picture in the pool. So that was from June. We kind of assumed that. Well, we didn't assume it, but we had heard that from someone, I think, at that time of the live. 40 says the mom posted that she has pictures of him walking in the beach around 4:30 p.m. I'd love to know what happened to those pictures. Me too.
a lot of friends from Bay St. Louis, Pass Christian. We all went over there to hang out, and
And Nolan was in that picture.
Nolan was in that picture. And if you look in the picture, my arm is around Nolan in that picture, And I mean, that was a week before the 4th of July. So that picture is not associated within even the same. I mean, that was like a week before. So, yeah.
So you guys are now at swimming and having a good time at a lady friend's house.
Right. I never got to the pool. I talked to her dad for a while. Okay. And I mean, all my friends were downstairs. I went upstairs, talked to her dad. We were talking about boats and stuff. And, I've been with my friends all day. I was just talking to everybody. But
so you talked to the young lady's dad, and then how long was it before you realized, or you guys realized that, well, where's Nolan at?
I mean, I went back downstairs, and all my friends were just hanging out, and my buddy Wyatt had addressed, talking about Nolan, and I was like, well, where is Nolan? Have y'all heard from him? And he was like, no, we haven't. And I was like, okay, well, it's a little concerning. Like, I mean, I'm not freaking out or anything, but like, I'm trying to find out where Nolan is. So I texted Javon, and I was like, hey, and also a couple other buddies that I had at the island. I was like, hey, have y'all seen Nolan? Did he ride in with y'all? And all the buddies were like, no. Well, I texted Javon, and I was like, hey, can you send me Miss Christine's number? Because I haven't heard from Nolan. And if she hasn't heard from Nolan, then I'm calling the Coast Guard. And so eventually Javon sends me her number.
Who is her? That's
Miss Christine.
Miss Christine is
Nolan's mom.
Nolan's mom. Okay.
Yeah. And I walked down to the dock because, I mean, there was a lot of people at Ava's. Not a lot, but, there was probably 15 of our friends there. And I was just like, walked down to the dock with a couple of my buddies, and I got on the phone. I called Miss Christine, called her the first time. She didn't answer. I called her a second time, and I got on the phone with her, and I asked her if she had heard from Nolan. She said no. And I said, all right, well, don't freak out. I'm going to call the Coast Guard. And this was at about 11 o'clock.
So what's your intent in calling the Coast Guard, right? Because right now, Nolan could be with a chick. He could be with somebody else.
Right.
He could have gone back with somebody else. What made you concerned enough that you felt like you couldn't weigh it out anymore? You had to call the Coast Guard.
Well, I mean, like I said, my friends and I have been on the water our whole life. stuff happens. People die all the time. I know people that have died out there. And, it's a fun place to be, but it's also a very, very dangerous place to be if you're not handling it right. And Nolan, so I hadn't heard from him. And obviously, I'm thinking I'd way rather be safe than sorry. I mean, I would rather call the Coast Guard 100 times and lose my mind over it, my buddy be okay, than, not, and me not know where he is and him not be okay. And so I called the Coast Guard and I talked to them on the phone for like 20 minutes, gave him a description, what Nolan was wearing, the last place we were at, the last time I saw him, who we were with, what boat we were on, the conditions of the water, just a summary. And I called Miss Christine back after and I talked to her and I said, I got in contact with the Coast Guard. I'm not sure who she called or, what she did, but I think she said she was going to make a couple phone calls to either DMR or Jackson County Sheriff's Office. And I was thinking worst case scenario. Like, I would way rather be safe than sorry about this,
Yeah. So you called. So it seems like you called mom immediately.
Right.
Probably the first phone call that she got from anybody.
That's the first phone call, like at least I made. And I would assume that's the first phone call she got from anybody because Javon hadn't called her. And, there's nothing wrong with that, but Javon hadn't called her. And, I was just worried about my friend, stuff happens out there, boat problems, it could be anything. But, there's a lot of stuff that happens out there and I was just worried about my friend.
And so you guys made that call, nothing that night. And I'm assuming you wake up the next day and then what happens?
I wake up the next day at about 7:30 and my dad had texted me because obviously Nolan's photo was all over Facebook. And, I just saw it everywhere and I was freaked out because I was like, oh my gosh, like that, I assumed, Nolan's just, we had been drinking all day and like, that he's just sleeping somewhere and, that he's okay. But I didn't want to believe that if we didn't know for sure. So, next day I woke up and my stepdad walked to my room and he said, hey, like, have they heard anything about Nolan? Like, what's going on? Cause I hadn't spoke to him and he was like, I was like, yeah, no, like, I don't know. I had just gotten up and he was like, all right, well, we're going and getting on the boat and looking for him. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I got my buddy Ricky, I got my buddy Brooks, I got my buddy Jax. My mom came on the boat with my stepdad and I, and we all went out there and looked. When I got out there, there was dozens of DMR boats, helicopters, planes flying over Horn Island. And this wasn't just Horn Island. There was also Ship Island they were looking at, I'm sure, and Chandelier.
Wait, so they waited till the next morning to look for him? What are the vibes you're getting from the friend? Is he being genuine? Yeah, Chris Silver says, I'm so confused with the case, I can't come up with a theory. Why do I feel like he's talking in circles, says Cynthia. I guess what I'm thinking is like, would he come on these interviews if he was guilty? Like Anthony said, maybe to save his ass. But again, I don't think I think he's also being genuine for being there. You know what I'm saying?
Beer Island, Petty Boy. It wasn't just Horn Island specifically, but where I was at Horn, there were boats everywhere and not just like random boats, but like, marine resource boats and, cops and, the whole nine. Like, it wasn't like there was just a couple boats looking for Nolan. There was planes and helicopters and, everybody. So.
And then after this, obviously they didn't find Nolan that day.
Right.
And so what was your reaction like when you heard the news, or how did you hear the news that they found Nolan's body?
Well, the next day, it got to be about 1:00 on July 5th. And I was like, my mind started to turn. I was like, man, if he's not awake yet, like, where is he? Like, I got very, very worried. And, I was with my buddy Brooks the next day and we're driving and my buddies were texting my group chat. They were like, hey, listen. And then I got a phone call from my buddy Trace and he was like, hey man, they just found his body. And I was like, I wanted to have hope, but it was really, really hard to have hope when they haven't found your buddy in the last 2 days. And, but there's still a little bit of hope there, you know, like maybe, you know, he's not gone and maybe, you know, he's okay. But my reaction was just, I was with my buddy Brooks and I broke down. I mean, I haven't experienced death a lot, but especially with someone I'm as close with as Nolan. And I mean, I broke down and I sat there on my buddy Brooks' shoulder and I cried and I was upset. I made a couple phone calls to my buddies and checked up on my buddies because, you know, I care about my buddies too. I mean, like we're all experienced this, like we all realized at the same time, we all heard the news at the same time, like, you know, he's gone. And so it was really, really hard on me. I mean, I've never experienced something like this and it was traumatic. I mean, I could tell you where and when I was there, when I got that phone call, you know, where I was. And I just remember like, it was insane. Like I can't even put into words how upset I was, you know, and how upset my friends were. So.
And then comes
I can't, my opinion, I can't, like, I can tell he's nervous. I would be too. He must have gotten on some boat. If he stayed on the island, they could have found him there. Wouldn't you still be breaking down a bit? Lindsay Bay says, I'm shocked at the lack of emotion. If this was such a good friend of his, he hasn't once paused and said any words that would make me feel like he's a real, genuine friend, my opinion. Very matter of fact. Yeah.
Story.
I'm still stuck on like, wait, did you go home and then you went to sleep and then you told your parents? Is that how I understood it or no? Is that correct? I like to get the benefit of the doubt till I have a good reason not to, and he seems like he's just nervous but not deceiving. That's great.
And backlash and the craziness. I mean, you guys are now hearing that you're responsible for it. You did it. You killed Nolan. So what was the next step? Did you guys ever engage with police or?
Yeah. So the first time I talked to the police was July 7th. I talked to the lead investigator and I told him my whole story, top to bottom, dotted every I, crossed every.
The first time he talked to police was July 7th. That's like 3 days later, right?
See, I told him everything I knew, every little detail. I mean, everything I could, you know, tell them to try to figure something out, you know.
Were you the only one to talk to the cops or?
No, of course
some
not.
Other guys?
You know, every person that was included, especially, you know, the guys that you see on social media, everybody cooperated with the police fully. You know, Nolan was with us on the way out and he rode out on the boats with us. So, I mean, we were the first people to get questioned. I mean, we cooperated with the police the first time they called us and, you know, we talked to them, you know, as soon as they needed and we were fully cooperative.
And we see Benjamin Crump coming to town, made it about race.
Right.
What's your feeling about that? Do you think that any of this has anything to do with race or, because I mean, obviously something happened to Nolan. It appears that you guys may not have been involved at all. When I say may not, it's no evidence that you were involved at all. You guys had left.
Right.
But do you think that there's a racial component to any of this?
Of course not. I mean, I think if Nolan ever felt the most little bit uncomfortable around us, which we never gave him a reason to, but if he did, he wouldn't hang out around us. But if you go look on, you know, like my friends have had Nolan posted all over our social medias, you know, since freshman year in high school. Like if Nolan ever felt uncomfortable with us, why would he be hanging out with us all the time? I mean, every day we're back from college, we hang out and we're around each other all the time. So absolutely not. I would never look at Nolan any other way than I would any of my other friends. I mean, he was like a brother to me.
You guys had been interviewed by law enforcement, all of you guys.
Like a brother to me. But didn't Nolan's parents say they didn't know him? They don't know any of his friends? He probably feels guilty for leaving him, says Emma. He keeps saying my buddy instead of names, pausing to make sure he does that. Yeah. True Crime says his lawyer's sitting here and he has to be careful not to mention certain names. So I think that's one reason he sounds like he's being careful what to say.
You guys have given statements. But then I think that there's a part associated with this that's being rumored out in the public, and that is the situation with the cell phone, potential deletion of messages. When did that occur, and what happened there?
Okay, so that was part 3. Part 4 is the last part with Warren. This is Warren, right? Yeah, this is Warren. I get confused with Warren and White. And I know there's another part with the friend. I don't know that we'll get to that one today because it's a little bit longer, but let's move on to the 4th part with Warren. Very interesting. I had not watched these. Thanks for watching these with me.
I didn't come down here, do anything other but to get the truth. Did you kill Nolan? Did you have anything to do with Nolan's death? Did you delete anything out of Nolan's phone? People are still out there partying and they're having a good time, but something happened to where it necessitated you guys to get the boat up and running. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I'm like yelling at other people, trying to tell them, calm down. Like, the boat could possibly sink, and Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy yelled for Nolan, get the F on the boat, get on the boat. And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here. The next day, I got a phone call from my buddy Trace, and he was like, hey man, they just found his body. My reaction was I was with my buddy Brooks, and I broke down.
You guys had been interviewed by law enforcement. Mm-hmm. All of you guys have given statements. But then I think that there's a part associated with this that's being rumored out in the public, and that is the situation with the cell phone, potential deletion of messages, how the cell phone was retrieved. And I just want you to tell your side of this, because what we're getting from the media is that they literally had to, coerce you guys into giving it back. You didn't know where it was at. You were hesitant to give the phone over, almost as they had to turn your wrist or twist your arm just to give it back. Right. Well, what happened with the cell phone thing? So let's go back to the first engagement you had when it comes to the family or somebody coming back to get the cell phone and keys. When did that occur, and what happened there?
Okay, well, that night, about 12:30, I went back to my buddy's house.
And you said the night of the 4th?
The night of the 4th, but it was about 12:30, I would like to say. And so I went back to my buddy's house that I stayed the night before, where we all met up, and stayed together the night before. And
wait, that night?
My buddy got a call from this guy, and the guy was like, oh, what's going on with all this Nolan stuff? Very aggravated. I mean, yeah, every right to be, but I mean, we were trying to calm him down, and he was just like, oh, where are y'all at? My buddy said, we're at my buddy's house, and he said, all right, and then he just hung up. And so about 30 minutes later, I'd like to say, all of a sudden the door just got open and slammed, and there was a girl who walked in, and probably about 8 or 9 guys behind her, and then another mom, which was Javon's mom. And
who's Javon? I want to put that in perspective. Who is Javon?
Javon is one of Nolan's good friends. He's a friend of mine too. Great guy, and his mom and their family is very close with the Wells family. And I mean, so I don't know why she was there, what was going on, but I was very surprised by this. I was like, you just basically kicked the door open and, bust up in the house with no knock or anything.
So is Javon black or white?
Javon's mixed. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I guess he's mixed.
Yeah.
So, but he's not white.
He's not white.
Just white.
Yeah.
Or all white, I guess you might call it.
Yeah.
So then they come in the house. Do you know any of these people? And
I know some of the guys.
the mom, but do you know anybody else?
I've seen the mom before, and I know most of them. Most of the guys went to high school with me, and I'm friends with some of the guys. I mean, I know some of them. So eventually, things started to get heated, and I was just a guy I was friends with in high school. He was like, man, come outside with me. And I was like, all right. And I walked outside with him. He was like, man, I don't know why, they're panicking. And, this is just I think Nolan's just
on somebody's couch. He's been drinking all day. He's just messed up. And, this is nothing that we have to worry about. As much as, I sat there and I told him, I was like, I agree. I would think, he's on somebody's couch, just had been drinking all day and just, drank too much and was super intoxicated. And, that's kind of what a lot of us thought, but they were kind of losing it and they were going crazy. And the mom that was with them demanded Nolan's phone because Nolan left the phone on the boat. And when we ran in, Nolan didn't ask for his phone and his keys were not on the boat because his car was parked at my buddy's house where we had all slept, the night before the 4th. And so
they just they fixed the boat situation and then went home or to his buddy's house and they passed out and then they got a call about Nolan. I mean, no one's blaming anyone. We're just talking here in camp.
the keys were left at the house because Nolan's car was at my buddy's house where we stayed at. So of course he left his keys there. But his phone, he was drinking. He didn't have his phone in the water because no one did. And there was more than just Nolan's phone that wasn't on the boat with us.
So it was more than just Nolan's phone that was on the boat.
Yeah, we obviously had all our phones, but on the boat. But those weren't the only people. Like Nolan wasn't the only person that left a phone on the boat. There was a lot of people that left phones on the boat, not that didn't ride out or in with us. So we there was a couple phones that we had that we didn't know who they belonged to, and my buddies got that figured out, But it wasn't just Nolan's phone that was on the boat who wasn't there. There was a lot of phones.
So when they barged in, they started getting frantic. The mom asked for Nolan's phone.
Right.
Was there a struggle over it, or did you guys hand it over?
Just handed it over. We didn't think anything of it. Like, she asked for Nolan's phone. We knew they were close friends with, the Wells family, and my buddy went out to his truck and handed the phone over. No complications, no issue, nothing. But I told Miss Christine that we had his phone and he had left it in our possession on the boat.
When did you? Miss Christine is Nolan's mom.
Correct.
When did you talk to her about that?
When I was on, no, I didn't talk to her once. Like it was like 12:30. I might have texted her a couple times and talked briefly about a couple things, but I never. I told her on the phone before I called the Coast Guard that we had Nolan's phone.
Interesting, but Christine said that nobody had told her and they had to barge in or to go to someone's house, right, to get the phone because Life 360 brought her there. So I'm going to go back on that part. So she did talk to Warren. Hey, are you Barbie? Good to see you, love.
I might have texted her a couple times and talked briefly about a couple things, but I told her on the phone before I called the Coast Guard that we had Nolan's phone. Before I called Miss Christine, I asked, I was like, oh, well, where's his location at? Because Nolan has his Snapchat location on for me. And he said, it's Wyatt said it's, in my truck. Because everybody who left stuff on the boat, it was Wyatt's boat. So Wyatt put it in his truck, it was normal. And so the phone was in possession in Wyatt's truck. And when that mom came over and asked for it, there was no issue at all with us giving the phone to her. Nolan just left it on the boat. We handed the phone to her that night of the 4th of July.
And did you guys go through the phone or?
Of course not. None of us had a reason to go through Nolan's phone. There's multiple phones on the boat. Why would it be? And the boat was having issues. Why would our concern be getting on Nolan's phone or something? I don't even know Nolan's password. None of my friends do. We had no reason ever to get on Nolan's phone and look at anything. I didn't even touch Nolan's phone. None of us touched Nolan's phone until somebody took it off the boat and put it in Wyatt's truck. And then no one touched it until we handed it back, to the mom that was at my buddy's house.
Did she pick, was that the only phone that she picked up, or was it other people's phone that they came and got? Or
That I know of, I think that was the only one that she had. Yeah, but I'm not completely sure. I think that's the only one that she took Nolan's. That's it.
And so we're on the 4th, where the night, probably going into the morning of the 5th, this happens. Then the dad comes back at some point to get the keys.
Right.
What happened there? When was this and what happened?
Well, my buddy Brooks drove me and dropped me off at my house, and I woke up to a text the next morning that Miss Christina texted me, and she said, "Hey, Nolan's dad's there is there at my buddy's house to pick up the keys." And I didn't think anything of it. I told her that I was praying for her, and that we were out there and we were doing everything that we could to help out.
And when he came to pick the keys up, was there a confrontation? Because I could have sworn I saw on the news that when he came to pick the keys up, it was almost like an altercation because you guys didn't want to get the keys over, or you said you didn't know where the keys were at?
I mean, no, absolutely not. I mean, I wasn't there, but from what my friend told me, they just had to look for Nolan's keys. It's not like, why would we be hiding Nolan's keys? There's no reason to hide anything. This is our friend. We have nothing to hide. I mean, we were trying to help, do everything that we could to help out.
All right. So I want to be clear with this one thing, because I know you mentioned before that you have no reason to touch the phone. Obviously, you didn't touch the phone.
Right.
But is there any chance or any knowledge that you have that anybody deleted stuff from his phone?
Absolutely not. I mean, like I said, there was no reason for us to get on Nolan's phone. No one touched Nolan's phone, but nothing. If none of us had touched Nolan's phone, then, there's no reason for anything to be deleted. I mean.
So, okay. Either he's lying or Christine, the mom, is lying, or something was up with Nolan's Snapchat account, right? I mean, we could say maybe he made a new one, but why would the mom say there was nothing on the phone? And then he's going to come on this interview and lie. Misunderstanding of some sort? I don't know.
No one.
Let me know what you think.
Even was in contact with his phone until it was moved from the boat to the truck. And none of us have access to Nolan's password to get on his phone and delete anything. Absolutely not. And we have no reason to delete anything. I mean, there's nothing to hide here. I mean, we have had no reason to delete anything, and we never did.
All right, so I have something I want to make sure that we're clear about, because you had mentioned earlier that you saw Nolan cradling Katie.
Right.
Her name is Katie.
Yeah, Katie.
I just want you to explain, what does that mean? Some people in their mind, they may think he's cradling like a baby.
Yeah.
Like what is that scenario look like?
He was. I mean, Nolan was off. The last time I saw him, like I said, I was off the bow of the boat, and like I said earlier, if you had jumped off the bow of the boat, you were probably about chest or neck deep in water. So Nolan wasn't like carrying her out the water. She's sitting in the water, and Nolan's arms are under the water, and he's carrying her from under the water. But her head's still out of the water. Nolan's head's still out of the water. And I was looking at both of them. So.
Oh, so he's kind of like holding her.
Right.
Kind of like,
in the water, though.
Like we grown, right? There's two people in the water. They feeling each other.
Right.
Like meaning feeling they like each other.
Right.
And
that was obvious.
He's a little more close to her, and they're kind of having a moment.
Correct.
Not saying and not insinuating that it's sexual, but
no, of course not. Yeah.
They're together. They like each other. You looking at him, you like, bro, you crazy, because you know that he like her and he's hanging out with her.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That makes sense. And when was the last time that you saw Nolan? And then when was the last time that someone reported to you that Nolan was seen?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
you saw him at a certain point, but then someone else saw him a lot later when you guys were gone.
Right. Okay. So the last time I personally laid eyes on Nolan.
Yeah, I see. True Crime says Nolan's mom said his Snapchat was empty, and that's not like him because he always posts snaps. They're having his phone checks this week. Yeah, I don't know that they're going to release that information unless there's going to be an arrest, right? Because everything's now sealed. Or maybe they will on their own account. I don't know. So who knows if we'll even get that information, just like right now, just like with the first autopsy.
It was at like 3:00, and he was, front of the boat with the girl, and that's the last time I saw him. But there were, I've talked to somebody personally that saw Nolan at 6:00, and someone, we weren't even the last people to see Nolan. Once we left, there was still dozens on dozens of boats around us. And I mean, clearly we were not the last people to see Nolan.
So Warren, I'm going to ask you some very pointed questions. I mean, just straight out.
Okay.
I didn't come down.
I mean, we would need a clarification, right? Like, was the whole Snapchat deleted? Everything. The pictures already on there, the snaps of the day, friends. I mean, we would need to know, was the whole account cleaned out or was it just that day? But it could be, you're right, true crime type of mind that he didn't post anything with service and them being drunk out there and partying. Also a possibility.
Out here to, do anything other but to get the truth,
right,
and for you to have a voice in this.
Right.
And the first thing I want to ask you is, did you kill Nolan?
Of course not.
Did you have anything to do with Nolan's death?
Of course not. And absolutely not.
They say that you guys deleted stuff out of his phone. Did you delete anything out of Nolan's phone?
No, of course not.
The mom act like, or at least she portrayed on television, and the rumors are that you weren't really good friends with Nolan. Is that true or not?
Absolutely not. I hung out with Nolan probably like 3 days a week. I mean, seriously, at least. Some days my friends want to hang out every single day, and Nolan was.
Okay, but didn't the parents say they didn't know any of his friends? They just didn't know who Nolan was hanging out with 3 times a week. I think if he was living at home, he might know. But again, there's many friends that I had that my parents didn't know about, or were just kind of like hanging out with our group of friends that I would hang out with. But like for the most part, if it's a close friend, someone that I'm seeing that many times a week, like I think my parents would know, but everyone's relationships are different. So that's just like my opinion.
Always there, so.
And obviously people may see this and know the facts later,
right,
that you weren't able to go to the funeral,
mm-hmm,
or the memorial service.
Right.
Why didn't you go? What was that?
Well, I mean, with everything going on social media right now, and with people saying the crazy things that they're saying, I would never want to take the attention off of Nolan and his family. They don't deserve that. And, for own personal reasons, I mean, I've gotten thousands of death threats. My family's got thousands of death threats. And, for my own safety, I'm not going to put my own health and safety at risk. It breaks my heart that I can't go, and it hurt me more than anything, because obviously I want to say my last goodbyes to one of my best friends. But I mean, if I'm getting thousands of death threats with people saying they're going to kill me and do crazy things to my family and I couldn't bring myself to go, because, I got to put my own safety first. And even if that means, missing my friend's funeral, I mean, it's horrible, and I wish I could have been there, but that's what's been going on,
And, you guys, I think this is the first time that you've.
Wait, did he say that he wasn't allowed to go? Kind of missed that part.
Missing my friend's funeral. I mean, it's horrible, and I wish I could have been there, but that's what's been going on,
And, you guys, I think this is the first time that you've publicly gave a statement about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And obviously you're doing it with me. We're going to put it out there for the world. Why did you choose to do it now? And why did you choose to not speak to anybody but me?
Right. Okay. Well, Officer Tatum, I've been watching you for a good while now. And, I think you're a great guy. You've kind of, ever since things got really hot, you've kind of been on my friends and I's side. And I really like that about you. I mean, I thought you were very confident, well-spoken, and I really enjoyed that. And all my friends and I watch you. We all think you're great. We love your faith with the Lord. We try to be closer and closer with the Lord every day. And so did Nolan, and, that we just really liked the way you spoke about us and how you took our side, not based off someone's agenda and, based off of race. Cause I mean, that's a horrible thing,
Was this about race? Did this have anything to do with race as far as from your perspective?
Absolutely not. I mean, Nolan's been a great friend of mine since 8th grade. Nolan isn't my only friend of color. And, I have plenty of friends through high school and friends I have now, not just Nolan, who are Black, Mexican. You know, I've never looked at that, and none of my friends ever have. Like, and if you do, you know, that's disgusting, you know?
Christine says, best friend and brother, but he left his friend to sink in a boat for a girl. This is difficult.
And if you had a chance to, you know, tell the world that have painted this picture of you and your friends as being potential murderers of Nolan, white supremacists, racists, what would you want the world to know if you can summarize to them in a very short paragraph or a few sentences?
Yeah.
What would you want to say to them if you had the opportunity?
I would want to say to them that my family and I are praying for y'all. You know, I can never bring myself to tell somebody that I'm going to kill them and that I'm going to, you know, like I've received and my family's received absolutely horrible threats about this. And, you know, I want people to know that our faith with the Lord is stronger and means more to us than anything. And we all trust in the Lord, and for the Lord to reveal the truth. And I know that's what will happen because I have faith and my family has faith. But I want people to know that I'm praying for them. And if they want to speak hate and speak, you know, these horrible things, and I mean, you're obviously not in the right state of mind and you need to work on yourself. It's a horrible thing. And, you know, but race was never a thing between Nolan and I and my friends. I mean, I have friends in my friend group that are Mexican and, you know, mixed, black. I mean, that's never mattered. And I think it's just absolutely disgusting that people try to make this narrative out of something that it's absolutely not, first off, and out of something that they have zero facts about. Jackson County hasn't released any facts. There haven't been any facts about this case other than that, you know, just timelines and, you know, stuff like that. But it's horrible that people have made this out to be something that it's absolutely not. And it's disgusting in my opinion.
Was Nolan the only black person on that island?
Absolutely not. I saw a lot of black people. And like I said, I mean, you know, it's not pointed out or anything. I mean, I wasn't looking at that, but my buddy Trayson was out there and, you know, he's mixed. Javon was out there. He's came out. He's mixed. I know a bunch of my friends that are black that were out there that day that I haven't even mentioned. I mean, Nolan was not the only black person out there by no means. I mean, like there was thousands of people out there, white, Mexican, black, everyone, you know.
And in the friend group, is Nolan the only black person in the friend group?
Absolutely not. My buddy Trayson's black. You know, I have other friends of color. I mean, we're
gonna listen to Tristan.
Friend group's very tight, and you know, we have not a small group of guys, but we have 10 to 12 guys in my friend group, and you know, we're all from Ocean Springs, and you know, we grew up together. But Nolan is not the only black guy in my friend group by any means, and everybody knows that.
There's controversy around the CETO, right? You guys called it in.
Right.
They have that record of you guys, you know, making that emergency call.
Right.
But then there's this, I guess, graphic of you guys traveling at a slow speed. Then all of a sudden you accelerate.
Right.
People are saying that that's an indication of something afoot or foul play.
So his mom is the judge. And he's coming out here giving these interviews. Yeah, I just checked. It looks like his mom is the judge. Ashley Cole is her name, I think. A Chancery Court judge in Jackson County, Mississippi. Interesting.
Going on in that timeline. What do you have to say to the naysayers who are mentioning that something must have happened, that you guys were going slow, then you accelerated all of a sudden?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely not. We got towed probably a quarter mile. Like I said, my buddy Bart drove his boat up next to ours after he pulled us out away from the island. And then he towed us a little more while we were trying to get the motor figured out. I mean, the motor would trim down. So then eventually, and the motor wouldn't trim down. And so eventually we figured out if you held the manual trim on the motor, the motor will stay in the water even when you start to accelerate. Because when my buddy would put the boat in gear and forward, the motor would come right back up. So it trimmed down, but then it'd come right back up when you went to go put it in forward and drive off. So yeah, we stopped at one point. My buddy pulled the plug out the boat, got back in the boat, the captain of the boat, got in the water, pulled the plug out the boat, got back in the boat and hit it. And like I said earlier, we all transferred our weight to the front. So, because there was so much water in the back of the boat that when my buddy had it pinned out all the way, trying to go as fast as we can, and the boat was still sitting like this on the water. Wouldn't even plane out. So we had to move all the way to the front of the boat. Everybody had to get on the bow, and eventually we planed. Everybody got sat back. And when you're on plane and you're going, water starts coming out the boat. Like that's the whole reason he pulled the plug. Because when you come out the water and you're on plane and the boat's level, water starts coming out the boat. So, I mean, that's why we came to a stop so he could jump in the water, pull the plug, and then we hauled in. There was no stopping, because if you do stop, the water starts coming back in the boat because the plug's out. So
there's nothing nefarious there. It's just a formality of trying to unplug the boat and
absolutely not.
Get it docked properly.
Correct. I mean, we were just trying to, solve the boat's issues, because we wouldn't have ever gone anywhere if the boat wasn't figured out. So
and Nolan being a really good friend of yours, really good friend of all of you guys. Some of you guys have been accused of killing him. I mean, obviously he was somebody you knew, somebody you spent a lot of time with. With all that has gone on, if Nolan was here, what do you think he would say about all this?
I think Nolan has Nolan's one of the best men I've ever met. I mean, he has an amazing heart. And like I said in the beginning, I mean, Nolan is one of the nicest and sweetest people I've ever met. I mean, seriously, he had no hate in his heart whatsoever. I think if Nolan knew this was going on, he'd be sick to his stomach. I mean, Nolan hated all hate and arguing and drama. He didn't like any of that. So, I mean, I think if Nolan knew this was going on, he'd be very, very upset. I mean, it's horrible. If he knew his friends were getting these threats and, we were, felt threatened for our lives, I mean, Nolan would be traumatized if he was here. Like, and if he knew that, like, I mean, he was a person of no violence, and, he had a really good heart. He would hate it.
You think your friendship with Nolan inspired you to want to speak out?
Of course. I mean, I know Nolan. And like I said, I've been really tight with Nolan since 8th grade. And he's a best friend of mine. He's like a brother. And Nolan's the type of guy to fight back for what's right and fight for the truth. And I know Nolan would tell me if he was here to fight back and make sure the truth is out and make sure your word is out, because that's what matters most.
So after all that's been said in this interview, do you have any theories about what could have possibly happened to Nolan?
My buddies and I have talked about it. And like I said, I mean, I've been on the water my entire life. My friends have. It's not like we're unexperienced in this, but Nolan was my best friend, and he was my friend's best friends. And well, he was like a brother to me. And more than anything, and the thing that's most important is what happened to him. And I want to know just as much as anybody else. I mean, that's all. Like, my friends haven't stopped talking about that. Like, what happened, and like, just trying to figure it out. But I would never want to put it on somebody else because of the hate that I've received for just being out there around them, and my name getting brought up because I called the Coast Guard. I was the first one to call the Coast Guard. I mean, I don't know. And I want to know more than anybody. I mean, my friends and I are have been wondering this for a while. And, we just want to know as much as anybody else what happened to him. But I would never want to sit here and blame anybody else and put this on anybody else because of the hate and death threats that my family and my friends have received. It's horrible. And I would never want someone else to experience that,
Yeah, especially if if there's no evidence to it.
Exactly.
So I got two more things I want to address directly. It's been said out there that you guys immediately delete your social media, lower it up, as if you were in some type of fear that you would be implicated in this. What do you say to that?
I mean, of course we lured up, and of course, I deleted my social media. I was getting death threats before anything ever came out because I was the one that called the Coast Guard. I mean, people put this all on me because I was the one that called. I was the one that was, worried. My friends were just as well. I mean, of course I deleted all my social media. I was getting insane death threats, like stuff I couldn't even believe 2 days after. And, we went straight to the police. I wanted the police to come and ask questions. I wanted them to know and have all of my information. And, I mean, people were accusing me of murdering my best friend. It's sick. I mean, like, just because of race. I mean, it's disgusting. It makes me sick to my stomach. I mean, I got off of social media because there were people saying insane things to me and my family, and I just couldn't sit there and look at it. I mean, that's it.
And Warren, thank you so much, man, for being bold and courageous, for telling your story. The purpose of me doing this and flying down here is because I wanted to know for myself. I always felt that the narrative that was out there wasn't quite complete. It seems like there was a rush to judgment. And I know that you could have taken the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm not going to say anything. I'm afraid for my life. And I'm just not going to put my neck out there. Right. But I applaud you and appreciate you for stepping up, for doing what Nolan would be proud of you doing. And that is putting the word out there and not letting the naysayers run with the narrative.
Of course.
And you being a young guy, I'm much older than you. I could take the punches.
Right.
I love dishing it out. But for you as a young man to really put your neck out there, to stand up for your friends and stand up for Nolan is very honorable. And I appreciate you doing this interview with me.
Well, I appreciate you. I mean, you being here and flying down has meant a lot. And I mean, I just wanted to get my story out there because I know that's what Nolan would want me to do. And I want the truth to come out. And I pray that the good Lord reveals the truth to everybody. So thank you, Brandon.
Appreciate you.
So I know a lot of you are like, yes, he knows something, or no, he doesn't. He's being genuine. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to accuse him of murder. It could possibly be that maybe they were complicit in something, just not that, I don't know. I'm just throwing theories out there. But it did seem like he was talking in circles a little bit, but he could be nervous. Obviously, yeah, there's probably a lawyer present. A lot of this was probably talked about beforehand. So we're going to listen to the last friend interview. I wasn't going to do it on this side, but I do actually want to get into it. I haven't seen it, and this is by Chaston, one of his other friends. Yeah, I doubt anybody. I don't think I've heard of any other person other than these two, Warren and Chaston, speak out. Now with everything legal going on, I don't know that anybody else will. Can they be complicit in something? Yeah, possibly. But I don't know that Warren murdered him or had anything to do with that. Trauma makes people react differently. Yeah, I agree. So this is Chaston.
Did you have anything to do with Nolan's death?
No.
Do you have personal knowledge of someone directly in your friend group having anything to do with Nolan's death?
No, not at all.
So I saw you on television, you had an interview, and I felt like you laid out a few things that I think the world needs to know and be clear about.
Okay.
And the first one is the relationship that you had with Nolan. Can you explain your relationship with Nolan?
Yeah, I will. So his mom got on TV, as everybody has seen, and said that she didn't know me. And man, that can't be farthest from the truth. Me and Nolan, I met Nolan in 9th grade, in a second block class. It was math. He was one of the first guys I made friends with. It was somebody I made a connection to. Like off rip, he was an athlete. I could tell he was an athlete when I walked into class. We sat really close to each other, and all he did, he turned around and asked me for a pencil when I first met him in 9th grade when I moved to Ocean Springs. Man, it was tough, and the relationship there has always been best friend in my eyes. I never wanted to take away how close somebody else was with Nolan, but Nolan was my best friend. That was a guy I knew I could call at any point in time. He called me at 11 o'clock on the 4th to see where I was parked at. Man, me and Nolan have countless nights of him giving me advice on my girlfriend, on my life in general. Nolan has been the only friend, and I love my friends and my best friend in this group of guys, but Nolan has been the only person that ever tell me like he's proud of what I've done. He's proud of how hard I worked. He's proud of me going overseas to go play ball. That was my guy. Like, that was my best friend.
Yeah, and so how does it make you feel when the media, activists are coming out and alluding to the fact that you may have something to do with what happened to Nolan on that day?
Man, that hurts. It hurts is an understatement. I beat myself up every night I lay down. Beat myself up anytime it crosses my mind. Because in my head, if I wasn't drinking, if I didn't get into that altercation, maybe I would be able to do something. Maybe I would have saw something. Maybe I would have told Nolan, hey, man, you're not going with that girl. Just come back with us. We're going back a little bit later. We can go meet up with the guys later. Maybe it just plays out different. And then the fact that they're going to play that is I'm already trying to mourn my friend's death as is, and I'm blaming myself for it. To put that in my head is a next level of hurt that can't be truly explained. Because, man, it's hard to put into words. Generally, it's backstabbing from a sense of a community that I thought I had with my skin color, and they stay so strong together, and I'm supposed to be one of them, but I come up and I speak, and now I'm the person to blame.
Yeah, and he said it like if we weren't drunk, maybe they could have done more. So that is a lot of guilt to live with.
Now I'm not dark enough for them. I'm not black enough for them, and now I'm the issue. It doesn't make sense in my head. It doesn't make sense.
Was Nolan, I mean, obviously you were in a friend group, but the way the media makes it seem is that almost as if Nolan was the only black person in this whole friend group. Now they don't even mention you. They don't bring you up in this whole thing when it comes to, what happened at Horn Island. So what's your take on Nolan being, presented as like the only black kid in a group of all these white boys?
That's crazy, man. I know we've spoken a little bit, but that friend group that I'm a part of to this day was the first friend group I was in when I moved to Ocean Springs as a new kid coming in. I never knew any of them. I'd known one kind of, sort of, back from grade school because we went to the same private school together. But that was it. And him being the only black person, minority, any of that measure is insane. Our friend group is diverse from the max. Like, we have a mixed guy. I mean, we had Nolan in our friend group. There's an Asian a part of our friend group. There's a Latino that they're trying to perceive as white. He's truly authentic Mexican. His parents are from Mexico. They came over legally and they did everything right, and he's been here since. It blows my mind because our friend group is not a friend group that sees race. Our friend group sees what good you do for other people, what good you bring, and how the type of person you truly are and where your morals lie. That's one thing in common. Me and my friends might not agree on everything, but our morals align. Our morals know. So for them to even make that narrative up really shows you have no idea what it's like down here on the coast. You have no idea how tight-knit Ocean Springs as a community is. You don't understand it. You don't see the thousands of kids in the high school football stands cheering their team on. Nobody cares what color you are. We're there to have fun and to just live. And that's how Nolan lived. That's how I live now. I've grown up and I have more big boy stuff, but in high school, all I cared about was going to hang out with my guys. And I mean, on a personal level that leads off of it, is like, it got me in trouble with my girlfriend just because I wanted to be with the guys. I never once thought, man, they look at me different. Man, I'm kind of an outcast to them. No. All their moms have always welcomed me with open arms. Anytime I needed anything, I knew I could call them and their parents, and they would do anything in the world for me. So with Crump pushing this narrative, it's wrong.
Yeah,
it's completely wrong, especially about our friend group.
Yeah, I find it, especially after talking to you, meeting some of the guys, that it seems like there was an agenda. But can you walk us through just your perspective from that day? I don't know if did you go with them initially? Were you a part of the group that went to Horn Island?
So I wasn't, clear that up. No, I was not on the boat with them. Yes, I was a part of the group that was supposed to go out. So the only reason why I did not go on the boat is I was offered, I got begged to go, but my uncle, we also took 12 people out on our boat, not including us two, so 14. And my uncle knows the passengers wouldn't have helped. Generally wouldn't have helped with anything. With that many people on a boat, you need a little bit of help. So my uncle was like, hey, can you just ride out with me and you can go do your thing throughout the day on the island? I don't care. I don't need you. I just need help to get out there and then pick everything up. Because I know all these people are going to be drunk and they're not going to want to do the extras that nobody sees about going out on the boat, right? And so I told Wyatt that, and oops, my bad. But I told him, I told him that, and
Okay, yeah. So they're not supposed to say other people's names. So clearly, yeah, there's an attorney present, or they've had a discussion because he just apologized for saying Wyatt's name, which is understandable.
been a little bit earlier than them. I was gonna try to have a spot saved out, and Nolan calls me at 11 o'clock. I missed his phone call. Called me twice. I missed both of them. I saw Wyatt and Nolan on the boat. They pulled right in front of our boat, and they were screaming. I turned my head and I was like, yo, there's a spot over there, where they end up anchoring out. I helped them set their stern anchor. From the time they showed up until now, going back to it, 20 minutes before they left, I was with them. That's who I was with. I spent all day with them, minus the morning time before they got out there. But from the time they got out there to the time they went back in, I was with them. Those are my friends, man. Those are my guys.
Yeah, I want to get a few more details.
I'm sorry about that.
I know that. Yeah, go ahead. I know that you were all over the news because there was a perceived fight. People, this is the thing that gets me, and I want to you clarify this. When I saw the video that they put out on the internet claiming that Nolan was saying, "Give me my effing phone back," the coach came out. Nolan's coach came out and said immediately he knew it wasn't Nolan's voice, and obviously it wasn't Nolan's voice because you were the one that was
me yelling,
in there yelling. You got into an altercation with somebody. What happened after that? Like, put me in your place where the fight is over. Whatever happened. Nolan is somewhere. You're somewhere. You're hanging out. And when was the last time that you saw Nolan before you left Horn Island?
So after the fight, I didn't stay on Horn Island much longer. So the objective, I was really upset. So with you hearing me yelling, my uncle had told me to get on the boat and wouldn't let me back off the boat. Obviously, I was really mad and I wanted to fight, wanted to get off. What wasn't smart, man. Mm-hmm. And so I was on the boat, I'm yelling. And shortly after that, I left the island. I left probably 30 to 45 minutes after I got into a fight. We started to pack up and left because I was so upset. As Javon mentions, that they were ready to get me back to land because I wasn't really mad. I was genuinely really mad. But the last time I saw Nolan, I was walking to the boat. This was before the fight. It's me and my old lady. We had just got out of a group of people. Nolan was walking towards Wyatt's boat. I was walking in the opposite direction towards my boat. And I dabbed Nolan up. I made a slick comment about something, actually about the girl that he was with. I made a slick comment to him, us joking around, and I kept going. And not even 10 minutes after that is when I got into a fight. Last thing I told Nolan was, all right, buddy, I love you. See you later. And I'm glad I said it. I had been under the influence a little bit, and that's probably why I did say it at the time, just, getting all lovey-dovey. But I'm at peace I said it. I'm glad I said it. That was my last encounter with Nolan. Just telling him I love him.
Did you have any, so you leave the island, did you have any encounters or association with these phones, with the keys? Did you have any connection to any of that?
I did not. So what I know, I got my first phone call from Warren at about 9:20. I didn't answer it. I was asleep. I'd been on the boat all day. I didn't feel like going to party anymore. I went to bed. So I got my first phone call about 9:20. And I didn't wake up again until a little after 11 o'clock. And that was to my brother coming in the room being like, hey, Warren's trying to get a hold of you. You need to answer the phone. They're looking for Nolan. And I'm half awake, and I pick up the phone. And by this time, nobody had came to the house to grab anything. And Warren gets on the phone, and he's just like, hey, man, he was like, hey, have you talked to Nolan? Anything else? I was like, no, I haven't talked to him, man. He was with that girl last time I knew. And he was like, okay. He was like, man, we can't get a hold of him. We don't know where he's at. And I was like, man, it's Nolan. He's probably just out somewhere with that girl. Like, get a hold of the girl, you'll probably find Nolan. It's no big deal. And he was like, all right. He was like, but we're starting to freak out. We're getting on the phone with Coast Guard. I was like, okay. And at that time, he had already talked to his mom, Nolan's mom. And he was getting on the phone with the Coast Guard. And I need to be specific about this. I did not call Warren's phone. I called another one of our buddies' phone, and it was on speakerphone. They were all together. I was talking on my other buddy's phone, talking to Warren. He was dialing Coast Guard because he hung up the phone and was like, hey, this is them, bye, and hung up the phone. And that was the last time I talked to him until the next morning when we all decided, when I woke up about 7 o'clock that morning, we had all decided that we were going to go out on the boat and go look for Nolan. Wyatt had already had his boat still in the water. We took that boat out. It was
what day are we talking?
That's Sunday morning.
Sunday morning on the 5th. The 5th?
So it was Saturday the 4th was the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. The 5th was Sunday. We were on the water from 9:45 to 11:50, 12 o'clock era, about lunchtime. Mm-hmm. While we were on the water, we talked to a rescue guy, and he told us to get off the water and said that they kind of had the island and the water under control. That's the professionals, man.
Yeah.
They told us to get on social media and find out any information we can. And by that time, we had already talked to a good amount of people out there. So it just made sense. So we went back in and we concluded our search and started the search off socials and started sharing everything we could and try to get a hold of anybody that could have talked to Nolan, that Nolan possibly would have reached out to.
I'm really wanting to know about Katie and what she knows. But like I said, everyone's lawyered up, so I doubt she'll give an interview, or maybe she will with Tatum. We'll see.
And that led into the night. It led all night long. I didn't sleep at all Sunday. Monday, I was up at 5 a.m. I was putting fuel in our boat at 6. I got told that we were taking out another boat to Chandelier at 7. So I put my boat back on the lift, and I went to McDonald's, and then I got the news after I left McDonald's that his body was found. So it was already a plan that we were going and searching and trying to do everything we possibly can. And that's all I wanted to do. Is I wasn't there to help him out in his last minutes, but now I feel like as a friend and as one of my guys, man, I do everything in my power to help now. And that's why I have reached out to the family. I have donated to the family, and I have giving them just your normal death gifts, I would say, as you pay your respects. And
do you think Benjamin Crump being involved in this case made it better or worse?
100,000 times % worse. Because why on the Tuesday after where has your civil rights been broken?
Yeah, he did. He says he donated to probably the GFM or something.
Where has it been shown? You brought Benjamin Crump to stir up a community that's already tight-knit. Yeah, we might not be best friends with everybody, but I promise, if you're talking about Ocean Springs as a whole, Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back 110%. We back each other. Everybody I've seen, we back each other. And for them to push this narrative and really push it just shows me is like you have no idea who you're dealing with or who you're messing with. And I think he's taking the grieving parents and manipulating and turning this and making it sound all bad, because nothing's like that at all. No.
Have you gotten death threats?
I will agree that, yeah, once Ben Crump got involved, it totally became about race, lynching, Emmett Till, all this stuff. And I don't know that that was necessary without actually doing an investigation first. Kind of like when Ben Crump said, well, they said there was no foul play beforehand, right? He's like, the investigation hadn't even started. Well, Ben Crump, you also came out here and made it about race and all of this stuff before the investigation started. So there's that.
Because I know that the other young men that I spoke to about this, especially the white young men, they're getting all kind of death threats. They're being accused of killing Nolan. Did you get the same backlash and threats that some of those guys have gotten?
Yes, I've gotten the death threats per se, but I've also gotten the threats along the lines of where it's like I've been cast out of the Black community. I've been called white. I've been called a wetback. All these things. I've been sent photos of me and my grandmother, and they've been told that she's the devil. She's just looking for the time to kill you. You need to be careful and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, if y'all want to know the story, the only people that showed up for me in my whole life has been my white side of my family. So for y'all to sit there and drag their name and to drag me down, and I'm supposed to be one of y'all, and you're supposed to have my back, and we're supposed to be in this together.
Wow.
And it's really eye-opening.
Did it shock you that it turned this way? Meaning that, you see everything happen. Nolan was your friend. From all the young men I talked to, it seemed like Nolan was the life of the party. Everybody loved Nolan. He gets along with everybody. Everybody's cool. And everybody feels like Nolan made them feel like everybody's his best friend, right? I mean, everybody felt connected to Nolan. Were you shocked that it turned like this? I mean, where this community was tight-knit, Nolan's friend group was tight. He ends up losing his life in an unfortunate situation, which nobody knows exactly what happened. Did it shock you that it turned into some racial thing?
Yes, racial, I do agree. Now, it going famous or going viral, that part didn't shock me. Thinking about it and being honest, like, that's not a surprise because everybody didn't love Nolan. especially around here. Everybody loved Nolan. So for people to repost that, they know Nolan. I mean, they know he did not have one hateful thing in his heart. And racism, no, that was a shock. That was a complete shock from his mom and from his stepdad. Like, that's a shock. That's an utter shock, because it's like, first off, I don't know how to word this. Nolan wasn't fully black. Nolan's mixed. Nolan has a little bit of Asian in him.
Mm.
You don't hear that, though. You don't. So to turn it as like somebody's harping down on Nolan because of the color of his skin, you don't know us. You don't know our community. It's crazy that people are just running with a lie. And it's so easy for people to believe it from the outside, looking into Mississippi's history, per se. But it's like, you're looking at history. Let's go to each state's history. I bet they're not the best with black people. Like, people change. You learn history so you don't repeat it. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
What's the craziest lie that you've seen floating around there about this situation? I know there's a lot of mysterious things, but like, what to you, what's the craziest thing that you've heard somebody say about this?
That my buddy in the photo was his lover. That was wild. That's been the utmost craziest, because it's like,
that's
what?
weird.
Like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
I mean, also the lies of just how racist Mississippi is, or how racist the coast is, and Ocean Springs, and no, you don't know this, man. Like, you have no idea. And what I thought was crazy lie from the beginning was he's the only black person on the boat. He's the only black person on the island. No, not at all. Like, not once. Like, where'd you get this background information from?
How many people are on that island from your vantage point?
On the 4th of July?
Yeah.
Thousands? 13 miles? Like, I mean, you're talking hundreds and hundreds of boats that are carrying minimum 4 to 8, 9 people. Like, I'm talking like on the lower end, man. We're talking about smaller vessels here. Man, if I had to take a rough estimate in my area of the island that I was in, 400, 500 people easy. If I'm taking an actual estimate, about 400 to 500 people easy. In our group, and the group of, I would say, young adults that were in the group of Nolan Wells, 100, 150, 200 people.
So the idea that Nolan went out with 4 white boys and they took him to a deserted island, and he was allegedly last seen with a girl, and they just abandoned him. What do you say to that?
No. From the time they left, including myself, and also when I left the island.
Yes, I agree, Kat. You have to have discernment to be able to see through their eyes. It's okay, Chris, that you were late. We did play it at the beginning. Christine says, so Trayson was in Warren's friend group and he met Nolan in 8th grade, but Trace didn't meet him until 9th grade. And again, is Nolan's best friend too. Yeah. What's odd is when Nolan's mom said that she didn't know his friends he was with.
I could have named 50 people I really trust behind the helm of a boat that Nolan knew, that he could go talk to. Even if he was left, there was tons and tons of people out there. There was 10 boats that camped out at Horn Island. I know a boat that didn't leave Horn Island until 8 o'clock that night. Nobody would have ever seen. Nobody. take that back. Nobody would have ever left somebody on Horn Island. That's a place of everybody loves to go and hang out. That's their peace. Nobody wants to see anybody out there, especially in the boating community. And I can speak on that, like, genuinely. I grew up in it. That's absurd. It's absurd.
So can you help me understand the fight a little better? Because I interviewed Warren, who's your friend, and he had made mention that his brother was involved in the fight. So can you explain who actually started fighting, and were you fighting his brother, or were you fighting somebody else? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, and I can see now, especially, it's all been blown out of proportion. But so originally, I'll go back a couple steps. Original, me and my girlfriend, I wouldn't even call it an argument. She was upset that I lost the lid to her koozie. I dropped it in the water. Generally speaking, that's how it started. And I dropped her new koozie in the water. And so she started to let me hear it and basically told me I was paying for it. And she was really upset with me and mad about it. And I needed to kind of sober up a little bit. And so we're walking back. And during that time, this guy that I'm not friends with, I know of him. I don't know him. I didn't even recognize him when I got in an original fight. He had butted himself into my conversation and basically was telling me how I needed to handle or address the situation with my girlfriend. And man, we weren't even yelling at each other. We weren't arguing. It was more along the lines of, I literally told her, I was like, man, I just want a beer. And she was like, well, go get one, blah, blah, blah. Well, when I said that, she had ducked her head underwater, and he had walked up, and he told me that I needed to watch how I talked to my girlfriend. And I looked at him, and I told him, I was like, this has nothing to do with you. We're good. This has nothing to do with you. And he sat there, and he was like, well, I'm going to tell you, I better not hear it again. And I looked at him, and I was like, you need to excuse yourself from the situation. And after I came out, he swung. He threw the first punch. And we went back and forth. I remember at one point in time, I look over and I see my uncle, and my uncle's yelling at me to get in the boat. I stopped fighting. As soon as me and him made eye contact, I got in the boat, I'm sorry. And I listened to my uncle.
And what was Warren's brother involvement in this?
And so I was getting there. So when I'm on the boat and they're trying to cool me down, I'm trying to get back off the boat. So I see the crowd forming up on the island. Well, my little brother and Carter are like really good friends, like best friends, I would say. He's over at our house all the time. Carter heard him still talking crap as he's getting out of the water, and I'm on the boat, and the situation is like done and over with, right? Well, he sees him talking crap, so Carter gets up, and more along the lines of defending me. And for what? He was like, well, if you got a problem with Tristan, we can handle it right here.
Oh, so what's the racial breakup of these people that are involved? So the guy that you fought was
white.
I'm
the only black guy involved in this whole entire thing.
Yeah.
And at all. Like, I mean, I don't know. Carter is white. The dude I got in a fight with is white.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only black guy involved with this. My girlfriend's white. My uncle's white. There was no other black guy involved. And I know Ben Crump tried to run with a story saying that was Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was like, nice try. But there was another black guy on the island, so now your whole narrative needs to change again.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, but that was Carter's involvement, and that was kind of it. Like, after the fight, man, I remember getting off the boat. I got off the boat, and I walked up to the island, and I was telling people, I was like, hey, like, I just need to cool off. Like, let me be. This is after everything is dispersed. There was no crowd anymore when I walked off the boat.
What's rough too is, like when you're drunk and there's like rough fighting and everyone gets a little more aggressive, and so I can only imagine.
And I was like, I'm letting it be. Well, again, my uncle yelled at me, and I was like, I don't care what you're doing. Get back on the boat. We're leaving. So I got back on the boat, and we left shortly after that.
And well, at least I know you from the interviews that you've done Some of the other boys haven't spoken out at all.
Yeah.
You've had a chance to use your voice to put the truth out there. You did an interview with, I think, ABC, and you also did an interview with the Rolling Stones.
That was my first interview, with Rolling Stone.
The first interview was Rolling Stones, then ABC?
And then ABC, yes.
Now,
Oh, wow.
From what you told me before this interview is that the Rolling Stones gave you a very fair interview. It seemed like the young lady who interviewed you articulated very clearly what you told her with no fluff, no nothing added.
And she cared. She really did care. And she made sure that what she was telling was the complete truth behind everything with me, with my uncle, and then also fact checking on her side as being in media. And it all aligned, man. And when they came out with that, it was really genuine. When I felt that, it brought me to tears because it was like, that's the truth. That's exactly how it needed to be worded. And I appreciated her. I appreciated her a lot. And we took her out to Horn Island this morning to do another little bit. But she's done well, and that's the truth.
I didn't know he had been speaking out to other outlets like that.
Her story is nothing but the truth.
Now, ABC, on the other hand, did they treat you fairly, or how did that go?
So I don't want to say they treated me unfairly. The quotes that he used in the article, he did ask me for my permission on it. And I gave it to him to an extent. I changed up some stuff and that he initially didn't change when he came out with it. And then the voice recording, that's really what gets me, because that's what the main people are listening to, right? They're not going in and reading in depth in the article and really seeing everything. They're just going off of, well, what's on TV, because people don't like to read these days. But how they made that and cut a lot of my voice sounded horrible. Sounded bad. I didn't like it. I didn't like that side of it, but it already aired, so what was I going to do? Really?
And at one point, I could have sworn you said that you didn't feel comfortable doing the interview on camera.
Yes.
And did you do that because you didn't want to be visibly promoted on television, or what? How did that?
So the side of that, and I didn't want to be on camera for two main reasons. I never wanted to do an interview and get famous. I never wanted any attention, per se, famous attention. I don't care about the negative side of it. I'm doing what I think is right. I never wanted any positive attention, let's say. All I wanted to be is for my guys to know that I had their back and I got Nolan's back. And I didn't want the investigation on, especially on social media side, I guess, and with Ben Crump and their legal team, to go down the wrong path at all. That was my sole purpose, is to tell the truth and to clear up lies. When I talked to ABC, they wanted to do an in-person interview, and I told them no. I told them no because I'm getting death threats, and I don't like them. It is what it is. I'm not putting myself out there any more than I need to, and I'm not sitting behind a camera and so for somebody to watch me talk about my best friend. And I told him, I was like, if you want to do an article, it's okay. I'll talk, and you can do the article on that side of it.
I just personally, I don't know, like, would I go to the island and leave my friends? I mean, I'd have to be like really drunk, but I'm one of those people, we always went out with my friends. I used to be a big partier, so I could definitely speak from experience. We would always like come to a party and like leave together. But him wanting to stay with the girl and I mean, even on an island seems more sus, but it happens, like he wanted to stay allegedly. But my crew of friends, we were always like, we came with each other, we're leaving with each other. You're not going with the guy. If you want to bring a guy back with us, then that's what we would do, more so than letting someone just leave, But every friend group is different and situation is different.
I never originally wanted to go on TV, period. He convinced me into only using my voice, which now I regret, and I wish I would have just sat in front of a camera so you can visibly see the cuts. But they manipulated that interview pretty well. They made it sound a lot worse. And
I do agree with you, Barbie. I do think Crump did compromise this whole situation. Absolutely. It's like the minute he stepped in, it became about race. And like I said, I saw a bunch of things about Emmett Till, and I'm just like, wow. Wow.
I know for a fact most of that interview, you can't understand me because I was in tears the entire time talking about it. When he asked me about Nolan's death, and he put it at if you listen to it carefully, he cuts it and I just say die. Nobody want to see him die. Don't talk like that, man. That's not what I said. I did say died during at one point in our interview, but I said we didn't want to see his life being taken from us, period. They didn't put that. They twisted some things around and they almost made a different narrative to where it's like now people are coming out and lying. And it's like, man, no.
Yeah,
And
I was wondering if you were gonna. I remember I was like, I could have sworn he said he didn't want to be on camera, and they put your picture all over the news. I mean, how did you feel about that? Was that something that you were okay with them doing that, or?
I kind of accepted it. I accepted it because I gave Rolling Stone permission to do it. So I know that's where they probably got that original photo of me and him standing next to each other.
But still, that's kind of weird that you tell them, oh, I don't want to, even if you gave you the permission of Rolling Stones, you go, I don't want to be on camera. And they put your picture up there on camera anyway.
I agree. It is weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's odd, but I generally speaking, man, like I'm worried about my family's safety, but I have no regrets in what I've done and what I've said. Not one. I sleep better at night now that I've spoken up and I felt like I've done my part of the good, and I'm willing to help any other time if anything else pops up that I can't help with. And I genuinely just want the truth to be heard about it all. And it kills me and it breaks my heart that my best friends are going through this. Like, this is at home. This isn't something I'm just watching through a screen, listening to you talk about it or listening to somebody else talk about it. I'm living this. I'm getting the calls from my buddies crying, asking me how I'm not scared out of my mind. How am I okay dealing with all this?
So one thing that kind of stood out to me, there was a big contradiction on television, was you said in your interview that you were really, really good friends with Nolan, his best friend. Nolan's mother said on television that as if she don't even know you, and she
Thank you for asking this, because we've all been wondering about that statement.
she don't know who you are, and you're definitely not, at least is what she alluded to, you're definitely not his best friend. So what's the truth in that, and how did that affect you? How did that make you feel?
So she originally touched and she said that we weren't childhood best friends, and she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I moved to Ocean Springs in 9th grade. I met Nolan in 9th grade, as I've stated in my Rolling Stone interview. Nolan was my best friend, though. She can believe it or not, that was my best friend. No, me and her never had a sit down in-depth conversation like me and you're having now. It was always, hey, how are you doing? I've been to her house multiple times. I've taken Nolan to school multiple times. I've left my vehicle at her house multiple times, even including the new vehicle I just got has gotten left at her house for 2 days.
Okay, he's been to their house. Why would she say that?
And I just got it. I haven't even had it for 4 months. My vehicle before that stayed at her house for almost a week. Me and her son went on trips together. We went to Florida for spring break together. You don't know me? I'm in all these homecoming and prom photos as our whole friend group. Me and Nolan are standing next to each other. You don't know me. Nolan's last name is Wells. My last name at one point in time was Walker. We were by each other in the alphabet when we graduated. Man, that's mind-boggling. It's insane. Me and Nolan have multiple classes together. Me and Nolan has always stayed tight. Nolan has always known that he could call me whatever. And like I've mentioned, like I got a new phone number 2 months ago. Nolan was the only friend that had my phone number out of the friend group, and I still call them my best friends. But we communicate on other social medias. But it's like Nolan called me on the day to meet up with me on the 4th out there. But we weren't good friends. We weren't close friends. And when I say best friend, man, I don't want to take away anybody how close they were to Nolan. But when I think of a best friend, I think of Nolan. Somebody I can call, somebody that I've stayed up and I've cried to. That was one of my best friends, generally speaking. She might not think it. That's okay. Me and Nolan knows where we stand with each other. And period. And Nolan knows that.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. You know, with interviewing with me, right? You know, we came out here to Mississippi. We just wanted to give the boys a voice, give you guys a voice. And out of, I'd say, all the other outlets that you could have spoken to, why do you feel that you wanted to talk to me tonight?
Honestly, I'm a big fan. I know when I look at news articles, big news articles, obviously, and then I know you talk on them, I make sure I go I watch the full thread of videos. I think our morals align alike. And when we spoke off camera, like it didn't seem like you were out here like another news reporter that just wanted the next big story. Like you just said, it's like you genuinely wanted us to have a platform to be able to speak and to be able to tell the truth. And that's what I like. And I know I don't know, talking to Warren and knowing Miss Katie and being close to them and them trusting you was like, okay, I can sit down, I can have this conversation, and we can go through it, and we can have the interview on camera, and people can see me, really, I guess you could say, and talk about it and whatnot.
I appreciate that. I really do. And my last question, you know, with all this stuff going on, and you knew Nolan very well, what do you think how Nolan would feel about how this all has transpired with Benjamin Crump, with, you know, the statements from his mom, with the accusations against you and his other friends? You know, how would you think he would address this or feel about this?
Well, I know people like to use a term, they would turn over in his grave. If Nolan could dig himself out of his grave right now, he would. No doubt. Nolan would be livid is an understatement. Nolan would never want anything pursued this way at all. I think he would be really upset with his parents about how they went about the situation. I think he generally would. I don't think he wouldn't support it. I know that for 110%. I know he wouldn't support any of it. I think he would want the truth and he would search for answers, but he wouldn't go about it like this. He wouldn't let us get dogged out like this. If Nolan could have spoke up, he would have already said something about our friend group and saying, yo, y'all are on the wrong path. Generally speaking, he would be mad. Like, he would be mad. And I don't understand how people don't see that and how people are just okay with even some of his, I guess you could say, other best friends, man, how they were coming out and how they're acting behind it. It's like, man, Nolan was never like that. Nolan was an aggressive, threatening person. Don't get me wrong, Nolan would defend himself if he needed to defend himself. Nolan was loving and kind. Nolan was the furthest thing from a fight. Like, furthest thing from a fight. And I remember personally, I was in a heated argument and Nolan comes up, crack a joke, and I'm like, bro, it's not even worth it. Like, come on. And it's like, that just shows his character wouldn't be like this. I know he wouldn't want people chanting at his funeral. I know that for a fact. I know nobody would want me or the rest of our friends to get dragged through like this. I know he would want all of us to feel comfortable going to that funeral, and all of us didn't because we're scared. And that says a lot. That says a lot. We're scared to go in our own town to who we called our best friend. We're all over his socials, man. Like, I don't know how you're discrediting and thinking that we could have hurt him. We could have known somebody that hurt him. Because like I told everybody, I would put myself in whatever position he was in 100 times before I let him pass away. And I mean that. I genuinely mean that. That dude, he was so loving and so kind. It was just wild. It's crazy. It's wild and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having the courage, man, to come down here and talk to us, give us, your point of view. And I say this, like I said to Warren, man, my whole objective is that, man, I was watching an injustice happen before my eyes. And an injustice meaning that the other side wasn't presented. And people that don't live here came into this town and shook it up, brought racism in it. And based on everybody's statement that I hear about Nolan, is that they didn't represent what he stood for.
No.
And they bastardized his character, in my opinion, this is my opinion, to make money and build a GoFundMe instead of trying to actually get to the bottom of what happened to him. And none of this have I seen any of the activists pursue what actually happened. Somebody could have seen something, and instead they're going after dead ends simply because of race, simply because of convenience, instead of pursuing any other lead or any other notion of somebody knowing what happened to Nolan. So I thank you for coming out here, man. It took a lot of courage, putting your face out there, putting your name out there, putting the statements out there. Some people are going to be mad at you, but I'll tell you, like I told Warren and all the other boys, is that I got your back, man. You tell them the truth. I appreciate that. You being a good man, doing what's right. I got your back, man.
Wow. I'm glad we actually watched that. Very sad. R.I.P. Nolan Wells. We can all agree that Ben Crump definitely made this about race. Could it have been about race? Yeah, sure. We don't know yet, right? We don't know exactly what happened. And until we do, we can just theorize what happened. But Tristan seemed a lot more emotional. Everyone's different, though. I'm not saying Warren doesn't care. But, Tristan was a little more emotional, and my heart goes out to his friends because they're getting death threats. So, and all of that. I'm sure it's causing a lot of drama in their households as well, or tension. So, very sad. Very sad case. We watched all of the Friends interview thus far with Tatum. Tatum is getting a lot of backlash too, but I could agree that Tatum did a good job to not come out here and make it about race right away. Like I said earlier, the police could have waited to say no foul play until they had something, but I feel like they do that in most cases, eh? Until they figure it out. And then Crump and Nolan's family, I know they want answers, but they could have also not jumped to the race thing right away. I know the Wells family wants answers, and I hope that they get them. Now, if it turns out to be an accident, it's probably going to be a lot of lawsuits like the one we read earlier, or cease and desist going out if they're not already. Now things are sealed, so we'll probably be limited on what we hear. Hopefully that changes. But R.I.P. Nolan Wells. R.I.P. Very, very sad, concerning case. And I hope they get to the bottom of it. The parents wanted answers, so they were willing to do what they needed to do, and Crump took advantage of it. Yeah, Margie, he brought tears to my eyes. Yeah, he was very sad. Breaks my heart how much, but we'll see what pans out. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you guys for hanging out for almost 4 hours. We did a long live. Lots of information. We read documents. If you missed them, go back. We read the legal letter that Nolan Wells' family sent out to his friends. We went over the Marine report. We read the cease and desist that another creator got because of this case. So I think we're up to date thus far with Nolan Wells. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the like button. We'll be back with Mackenzie, a members only, David, and some other things that I'm working on. We will have a special guest this weekend here at the Mellyverse. So I'm very excited about that. I hope you guys tune in. I'm just giving everyone a little heads up in case you want to be there, because you do. Anyways, shout out to everyone who gifted and sent jewels and all the members. Evie and Sarah, thank you for the gifted. And shout out to all the mods that were here. Thank you for hanging out. We're on the same page about this one. Yeah, terrible case. Terrible, terrible, terrible. RIP Nolan Wells. Thank you for watching. Shout out to the replay viewers, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.